I got a void behind me. No double, that's great. That's great. No. Goofy. Here, let me stop monitoring my voice. Can you hear that? I feel like you can't hear that. Ugh, there's no way of testing unless I, like, watch a VOD. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. The background, yes. Are you able to hear that right now? Oh, no, because it's muted. You're able to hear it now. I'm gonna... Okay, I think I can work with this. I think this will work. I'm gonna cut off the monitor to my voice. Oh, but mic aux 2? What the fuck? That's gonna be doubled. Is that gonna be doubled? Oh, you son of a bitch. Test. Yeah, okay. It might be doubled. If I go like that, does that work? But then you won't be able to hear the fucking... Oh, whatever. Whatever. What's up? How's it going? Calm down, Apathy. Hi, Steph. Hi, Danny. Hi, Heltran. Oh, happy Tuesday. I haven't done a card reading stream in a long time. Calm down, Apathy. Okay. Let's take a gander at these freaking cards. Ooh, ah. See, this is my old camera. That's why it's all fuzzy and bad. And then this is my newer camera. I guess technically, yeah, Plant Danny, yeah, I did switch the cameras. The cameras are switched. Because this one keeps, like, flitzing in and out. I'd love to replace it soon. But I also got freaking green screens. And I played around with that on Sunday in a very embarrassing 20-minute improvised piece that is now up on YouTube for everyone to analyze and destroy. Very exciting. You know, they say Pandarsara surely puts her stuff out there. She's fearless, they say about her, that artist, Pandarsara. They say, wow, how fearless is she? Not only does she, like, talk about a bunch of crazy nonsense on her stream, but she also is willing to improvise 20 minutes of really, really bad comedy. Just awful comedy. Because she finds value in it. She finds some value in it. And she doesn't really care. She flits back and forth between caring and not caring. She also has been using the third person for the last 5 minutes. When you call your comedy awful, I think that's blue humor. You think it's like blue to insult my own material? That's nice. That's a kind. Like, that's like a compliment, I think. Fun little thing to start off the day. Initiation and ceremony and spiritual disillusionment. That's cool. So how's everybody doing? How's everyone's relationship with themselves? How's everybody's relationship with the universe? Do you care? Do you not care? Do you even want to talk about the universe? Do you even want to talk about yourself? Do you even want to be alive? Well, come on in. Come on in. Let me force you to want to be alive. Let me, not a trained therapist, not a trained social worker, not a trained psychologist. Come in. Let me try to control your willingness to stay alive. That vid was good? You liked the vid? Oh, I'm glad you liked the vid. I like that I can hear the tuning forks. This actually like helps me a lot with vibe. It's nice. I'm actually gonna up my headphones a little bit. There we go. Okay. Isn't this cool? Look at this. I'm like a freaking streamer now. I went to TwitchCon once and now I have 2 green screens and I've sold out. I've totally sold out. Everyone's like, Pandarsara isn't what she used to be because now she doesn't, you can't see the rest of her room. You can't see the room that she's in. Now there's an air of mystique that we have to put up with. As if she wasn't mysterious enough before. Well, by gum, be prepared for even more mystery. What's this? Earth Connection. I like that card. I've gotten that before. Earth Connection. Let's just get some like random purple cards. Ooh, what are you? You flew right out. What are you? Faith? Beautiful. Earth Connection. Sometimes it takes faith to maintain one's connection with the earth. You know what's funny? Freaking A. I don't even remember like what I was watching or what I saw, but some guy was like, hey, did you know that like the earth might be conscious and sentient? I don't know, like that might be a big step for me, but like, did you know that the earth might be a living thing? And I was like, good on you, pal. Good on you, she said condescendingly and impatiently. Good on you. Now just convince everyone you know and love, and then we'll be one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Everything that guy said to me. One more card. Let's see what this is. Whoopsh. Authenticity. Cool. Let's bookend faith. I just want to kind of like sit with these for a few minutes. It starts with... at any point, let me know if the background tuning forks become annoying. So far, so good. But if it's like, ugh, this is too much, we would prefer to have royalty-free jazz playing in the background. Which is not even so royalty-free. I've tried that before, and my VOD has gotten muted. So I'd rather just like make my own music, you know? We're enjoying a nice orange cream soda. Bubbly water. It's an orange cream bubbly water. Play shellac. Abilene, calm down. Rest in peace, Steve. Oh, interesting trio to start out with. I want to read about Earth Connection. I want to read about that a bit. That's a serious card. Where are we, E? My Earth Connection supports my strength and joy. That's nice. That's very nice. Mother Earth is a living sentience. All the systems that live upon Gaia are interdependent. That's a fun one to absorb. That's a necessary one to absorb. Can I rant? All right, am I allowed to rant? Will you guys allow me to rant? I'm gonna rant. Do you guys want me to rant? I'm about to rant. Hey, Grandpa Jr. I accidentally referenced you in my scene on Sunday night. Well, it's this. All the systems that live upon Gaia are interdependent. Animals seed and pollinate plants. Plants feed myriad species that in turn feed other species. Excrement and decay fertilize new growth. The electromagnetic currents that flow through the earth help you ground your energy and entrain your heart and brain, which are also strong electromagnetic fields. That's awesome. What I really wanted to like rant about though is just that, like, can I just rant for 5 seconds? How do I do this in a loving way? I feel like there's no longer time to entertain the idea that our planet, and by extension, like the universe, is uncaring. I have like less and less interest in entertaining that notion every day. And we're all given enough free will to believe whatever we want about our own perceived significance in the grand clockwork of everything or whatever. But it's getting harder and harder to like relate to how do I put this? Like separation as a shield. Like, why should I care? I don't need to care. No one cares about me. The universe doesn't care about me. The earth doesn't care about me. I find myself relating less and less and less to that every day. And you don't have to agree with that perspective or whatever. But that's kind of the trajectory that I'm on. Because I feel like I enjoy life and get more out of participating in life when I like recognize the inherent like connection. And I think we're still in like a transitional period where that's a little too fucking like woo woo for a lot of people, because it's really easy to focus on certain vibes that are perpetuated for money, to put it as simply and crudely as possible. Like, what are the things that make us feel bad? And why do we allow them to make us feel bad? I think that's always been an issue of mine, is like, I'll only abide a bully for so long unless I can't tell that like I'm inviting the bully. In which case some sort of like big event will have to occur for me to realize like, oh, every day I wake up and I consume information from this source that's literally just like destroying me or something like that. Or I'll like try to curry favor with this like group of people who are literally destroying me or something like that. Maybe not even destroy, maybe that's a little dramatic, but I guess just like reorganizing like priorities. I don't know. Sorry, you had to find your wallet. Calm down, Apathy. I don't know why I like felt a need to say that. I think just like, I think as we approach like a grand external like transitional period, such as a political election or something, we're each given like free will to participate in whatever way we deem is appropriate. And I think we're learning as time marches forward, like we can try our best to influence those around us, but we're all really just sort of like making the decisions for ourselves and learning how to allow for that freedom among loved ones. Maybe some close-knit groups or family units or something are feeling more divided as we approach. Maybe some are feeling less divided as we approach. Maybe some people are ramping up in intensity. Maybe some people are chilling out and like just focusing on whatever it is that they want to do with their free will, with their agency, with their choice. Luckily, I've been sort of like keeping myself busy with enough things that feel healthy and social that I haven't been like spiraling into the energies of the collective in that way, and I'm focusing more on like integrative energies of the collective. My brother sent me a text yesterday that was like screenshots of this guy on Facebook who had just watched the Will and Harper documentary, and he's like hyper conservative and started it off like with this like, I don't believe in transgenderism, which is a great way to start off any post on Facebook. And then he went into this extremely long thing about how, like, even though I'm hyper conservative and stuff, I would never want anyone to judge me for my life and my beliefs and my this and that, my identity. And so I'm like, this movie's really helped me turn a corner when it comes to my perspective. And my brother replied to him and was just like, this is beautiful. Like, I don't know how my brother knows him, probably through business. They probably have mutuals in like the business world or something. And it's like, my brother saw that as this huge, beautiful, like, bridging. He's a Libra. He's a very different Libra than I am, but we're both Libras. And he sent me the screenshots of that, the little conversation that they had, and I thought it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I could have easily read the first sentence, been like, oh, I'm gonna write off everything that this guy says because he is from this camp of thought. And he wouldn't mind seeing me, I could dream up all sorts of like prejudices for this person to hold against me. But my brother shared that interaction because of the beauty that he saw in it. And so I saw the beauty in it. And like, what am I gonna do? Be like, everyone is so different. I even saw in my brother's response things that I've said on this stream, like the celebration of differences and things like that, as a means to approach unity. Because like it's just emphasized so often, unity isn't about homogenization. Unity isn't about controlling everyone to be the same. That's not unity. That will inevitably invite like rebellion and infighting and war, etc. Libra Squad. So if unity can be reached by means of celebration of diversity, understanding of diversity, I don't know, I'm really excited about the period of time that we're living in. That doesn't mean I think it's good or bad. I just think it's exciting because things are happening and things are being like unearthed. It's hard to talk about in words because we tend to like lump things into camps of good or bad, depending on like how they make us feel or how we think like things will shake out. It's like things are happening. That's cool. Or not, whatever. It's exciting, I guess. Exciting is a more neutral word than cool, I should say. Gosh darn, this unbranded orange beverage is delicious. Well, you're very welcome, Grandpa Jr. I'm glad that you...
Okay.
Oh my god! Is my transgender friend here? I have to get rid of that raid alert. Hi, what's up, Zoe? It's good to see you. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. We're talking about love and life and various things and other stuff. It's good to see you. Hello. Hello to you. Noses are weird. My nose looks like a broom. Like a cartoon nose. Hi, Mind Delusion. Hello. Welcome in. We're doing cosmic card readings. Ooh, yeah. Plus I got some green screens, so I've been playing around with that. And the first, I just picked up like these first 3 cards from this deck, the Cosmic Consciousness Ascension deck, which is a cool deck. I don't know. I work with 2 decks. It's not necessarily tarot. It works kind of like tarot in the sense that it's a divination deck as a modality. It's not tarot, though. That's a different language. This is like galactic heritage stuff. This is like Pleiadians and Sirians and Lyrans and Orions and Zetas and Sasquatch, and I do sometimes read for people in chat. I'll do that after I like kind of do some like vague like community reads and stuff. And I've been thinking more and more about like making people pay for readings, because it's getting harder, and I'm getting better and better at doing it, and it's getting harder and harder to do it for free energetically, because sometimes people come in and they're like really entitled about it, and I'm trying to like navigate like what my relationship is with like allowing people to come in and feel really entitled about getting a free reading and stuff, because it makes me really hungry. I'm realizing like it takes a lot of energy out of me. Calm down, Apathy. But let's see what happens. I don't know. Is it in the title? Do I have join for join and tip for skip? Because the way I usually set it up is you can do !join to join the queue, but you can skip the line by tipping. And I'd like to figure out like a more formal way of just being like, hey, you can join the queue by like tipping $1 to $5 or something like that. Money's so weird, chat. It's not that weird. I think I just make my relationship with it weird for no reason. Earth connection, faith, authenticity. We were reading about the Earth connection, and then I started rambling about how I get tired of... I just feel like more and more lately that I've been like relating less and less to the perspective that says like the planet, the universe is uncaring, and that like humans are separate from all of that. I don't think that that's true. And I'm feeling more and more like staunch in that opinion lately, because I feel like we don't have time anymore to wallow in separation, to wallow in like the sort of like self-pity du jour, if I'm using that correctly. I would say require tips, not subs. Just keep a queue on a piece of paper beside you. Yeah, that's a good idea, Plant Danny. Yeah. Every time I say anything in chat, Panda reads an invisible card that says, tell them to settle down. Yes. I think it's like I'm starting a class this week that like will be like a more formal step into studies as like a New Thought minister, I guess, which is, I have so many issues with the phrase New Thought. I have so many issues with like it just happens to be the like school of spirituality that I like grew up in and am working with and so forth. It's I'm not like someone who needs to champion like the phrase New Thought. I think there are a lot of problematic New Thought practitioners and so forth, and that's kind of like why it excites me, because I think it's very old thought. I don't think there's anything new about New Age. The only thing new about New Age is capitalism. I think that's what warps and distorts it. If someone was to ask me that question in an interview, nothing about it is new. Nothing about like New Thought is new. Nothing about New Age is new. It's like a reconnecting with the old, like very old, in my perspective. At least that's how I interpret it. But yeah, or the last couple hundred years, there's been a lot of like, oh, how can we monetize this? How can we monetize our connection with the universe? Because we feel that we must, under this like system that in which we find ourselves. Do I keep more of tips? Yeah, tips I keep all of. Yeah, anything that you pay through Twitch, like bits and subs, like Twitch takes like a hefty amount of that, especially if you're not partner. I'm not partner, I'm just an affiliate. I'd love to make partner someday. But yeah, like if you were to do tips, and you could do !tip or !donate, or you can click on that little photograph of me down there. Or you don't have to do any of that. I feel like as I'm the more that I express myself, I think the more like angry I make certain people, and the more like niche I make my audience, which is it's tough as a people pleaser who wants to be literally as accessible as humanly possible. But that's what comes with being authentic. I have to have faith in being authentic all the time, because I don't feel as connected to the earth otherwise, to speak quite frankly. Can you hear the dogs barking? All right, let's read a little bit more about this.
Sometimes the world just is.
Sometimes the world just is. Here, let me like make that way larger. Let me try that again. Oh my god, what is all this? Is it still September or is that over? I think September's over. I think it ended. Oops.
I want to dip my balls in it!
Sorry, that was the wrong one. There it is. Thank you.
Sometimes the world just is.
That's kind of fun. Let's see if we can do that like that. Let me try that again. I need to get rid of a lot of these alerts.
Okay, you're hot and funny? I guess!
I like that clip a lot. Sometimes the world just is. Anywho, Earth Connection. So yeah, we were talking about excrement and decay fertilize new growth. I bet everyone wanted to wake up and hear that. The electromagnetic currents that flow through the earth help ground your energy and entrain your heart and brain, which are also strong electromagnetic fields. Speaking of electromagnetic fields, does anyone watch Red Letter Media? It's raining where you are? That's awesome. Has anyone been keeping up with the paranormal investigation of the Red Letter Media boys? I just watched their investigation video last night. I thought about like going through it on this stream. I'm not sure if I will or not. I don't know if I'll have the patience. Maybe I'll try to do like a highlights and skim through or something. Because they use REM pods, that's why I asked. The Syrians are master geneticists that worked deeply with human DNA to align your Earth connection and support your evolution beyond physical focus into an understanding of your infinite subtle nature as well. Let's talk about infinite subtle nature for 5 seconds. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Slow down, Panda Sarah. What? You're talking about geneticists? You're talking about subtle natures? What? What? I want to read a little bit from this freaking book that I was reading last night. I'm on a chapter of this book about multidimensionality. Speaking of new age people, speaking of new thought people, speaking of all sorts of types of people, everybody keeps talking. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. So, do you guys ever hear people talk about densities versus dimensions? Is anyone like following this? Should I just like pack this up? Should I just keep moving on? Densities versus dimensions. People are always like, oh, I'm coming from the 5th dimension or the 5th density, which are two different things. But a lot of people interchange those words. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I feel like I need to like make like a specific YouTube someday instead of just randomly bringing it up on stream. Maybe I'll calm down. Maybe I'll save this for another time. I don't know. Some channels talk about humanity moving from 3rd density to 4th density instead of defining ascension as a dimensional progression. Dimensions are your observation of the world around you and the rules within which it is defined. Within which it is defined. The definitions of the densities are a foundational necessity because rather than defining what is around you, they define your physical and subtle biomechanism. There are 7 defined densities of physical life. A wonderful overview of this can be found in The Prism of Lyra by Lisa Royal Holt, which I've read on stream, and she's the person who like made these cards. But this is a different author. This is the person who made the other deck that I work with. Wow. The way in which your biomechanism reacts with the dimensional rules around you is what many channelers refer to as the dimensions. In actuality, your density changes as you become more based in love, unity, and connection rather than fear or domination. Go figure. As your physical density changes, you become aware of new rules that were always around you, and you are able to interact with them more readily. This is the core of consciousness. As you become more conscious of love or transform from fear, you become more conscious of the dimensional expressions around you, and your interaction with them becomes more conscious. To summarize, humanity is moving from third density to fourth density. This defines your physical and subtle structure. Fourth density is a less dense physical expression, though it can look the same to the physical senses. Within fourth density are new rules of interaction with the world around you. This new interaction is arbitrarily termed the fourth and fifth dimensions and higher. The fourth and fifth dimensions are higher dimensional expressions than humanity previously had conscious access to with its third density bodies and minds. Evolution is naturally expanding your abilities. Yet part of that work is within each individual, for the choice to change comes from within. As you align more with your loving, empowered nature, you progress your physical structure into fourth density, a higher dimensional interactive vehicle. I love that. That was in the book that I'm reading, like last night. I'm like, I want to go over that on stream really quickly because I feel like people mix up density and dimension all the time. So, oh my God, can I just all right, you got one dimension. You've got like a height. Height is one dimension, right? We can all agree on. Let me catch up with Danny really quickly. First density is like rocks, inert stuff like minerals, stuff without consciousness. Ooh, see, that's where I would disagree with you. I think that everything has or is of some kind of consciousness. But yes, from our current scientific understanding, we would probably say that rocks and minerals don't have that. I would disagree with that in a formal academic setting, though. I would raise my hand and be like, no, rocks are conscious. I think everything is conscious. But that's okay. I'm trying to this whole process is like trying to find ways to talk about one's perspective without demanding that it is the only correct perspective. You know, that's the catch-22 for me. Second density is like animals with limited ability to like fulfill their souls or something. Sort of. I really didn't explain it that well like the last time it was brought up, and in that TikTok I made, I did not explain it accurately like at all. It was more for the lulz. Third density is us with our enhanced awareness above animals not hitting yet when fully enlightened. Fourth density is galaxy brain. No, yeah, I wouldn't quite agree with like a lot of that, but that's like, oh, I should go get the book. I should go get the Prism of Lyra book. Anyway, I'm going to talk about dimensions really quickly before I get into densities. Dimension, we've got height, that's one dimension. Then we've got width, that's two dimensions. And then, so what can you do with height and width? Oh my God, you can make like a square, or you can draw a circle. Let's go with a circle. You've got the height and the width of a circle, I guess. You know, well, you generally associate height and width, the two dimensions, with like, you know, a shape with lines, etc. Well, we'll see, Danny. We'll see once I grab this other book. We'll see how you did. But then, so you've got two dimensions. And then you can have three dimensions because you can make that square into a cube, or you can make that circle into a sphere. So let's think about this sphere. We've got a sphere in three dimensions. We're still in dimensions. We're not talking about densities. Density is like vibration. It's like physicality, like how dense, etc. Right now, dimensions. First dimension, oh, it's a line. Second dimension, oh, it's two lines. Or, I don't know, let's talk about a circle. Three dimensions, we've got a sphere. There's depth now. There's depth to the shape that we drew in two dimensions. Is everyone following along? So now we have depth as the third dimension. What's the fourth dimension everyone always is screaming about? Stuff. Can I get a does anyone want to shout it out? This is suddenly a classroom. They always say time. Let's talk about time. So how can you observe that time? Oh, there's this beautiful thing in here about how so time isn't quite visible, is it? But we can still observe it. We can still experience it. So think about that sphere that we were talking about. Now that sphere becomes like a snake or a tube because it's moving through time, and we can measure, oh, it's over here. Now it's over here. It took time to get over there. And if you want to just look at time itself, it's probably going to look like a tube or a snake or a wormhole or whatever. You know, it's like the sphere is over here, the sphere is over here. There was like a tube of time that it went through or whatever. You know, that's one way we can represent it figuratively, visually. Does that make sense? Okay, so the fifth dimension. This is really fun. Are you familiar with like a torus, like a donut or a bagel? Can you think about an inner tube, like a donut or a bagel, or what's known as a torus in geometry or what have you? Remember Everything Everywhere All at Once? How they were obsessed with the everything bagel? Okay, so you take that tube, that time tube, and you pull it inside out until it loops back around. Now you have a torus. Time, the donut of the heart. Does that work visually with everybody? We've taken that time tube, linear, very linear, this fourth dimensional time tube. All right, let's stand this time tube up like this. So we've got this like this time Pringles can. Let's take it from the top and goatsy it out until the lid up here connects with the lid down here. So it's like this, and so there's this like air space in the middle, and it's like an inner tube. It's like a donut. It becomes like a donut. And if you want to imagine what it looks like inside that donut, like, you know, Alex Gray, the painter, he's done a lot of beautiful. If you've ever smoked DMT or really gone through some crazy psychedelic visuals during ego death or something, oftentimes you might find yourself in a torus. So the thing about the linear, like, so we had linear 4 dimensions with time. The ball was moving through space, or it took time for the ball to go from here to there, and that can be represented by this like tube of like ball, like frames of a film. Now we can take that tube and like stretch it inside out to create. That would be sort of like if you tried to make a sphere. If you tried to make a 3-dimensional object out of that 4-dimensional representation, that's a terrible explanation. Forget that I just said those words. You just goatsy the Pringles can. It's like taking all I can think of are like sphincters, but it becomes it becomes a torus, a bagel, a donut. So from there, time becomes less linear. Every point in space and every moment in time is accessible because it's all visible. It's all like, oh, that's the battle of the historical event. That's the Jetsons. That's the freaking other thing that happened in that other place at that other time. Sort of. It could be, maybe, Danny. It depends on definitions of those concepts. But yes, from a 5th dimensional perspective, all points in space and time can be observed. Whereas we kind of operate in 4 dimensions, where we're observing like physicality, the realm of physicality with depth, measurable depth, etc. And then the last measurement that we work with is time. Like, oh, that physicality as it ages, decays, as it moves, as it progresses, regresses, whatever. So that linearity. And then 5 dimensions is making that linearity non-linear again. It's sort of like a pendulum. I feel like No, that's not apt. Anyway, the sixth dimension is taking that torus and then turning it into a tube again. Which I don't even, our brains, like, that's just like, I don't even know how to describe that well. I have a Sasquatch channel book that describes dimensions like in great understandable detail, but I can sort of get up to the fifth or the sixth dimension in terms of like conceptualizing it, and that's like as far as I can really go right now confidently. But isn't that fun? Did that make sense to anyone? I love thinking about that. Like, okay, I'm gonna go get that book that talks about densities. Terrifying. What makes you say that it's terrifying? I guess it is terrifying, but why are we scared of that? It is scary. I don't want to put this lightly. I feel like every time I've ever like accessed ego death through cheat codes, like of psychedelic substance or whatever, it is scary because it's so unfamiliar. There's something very like when I came back from the intense salvia trip, there was something so comforting about living life in physicality in linear time, returning to my identity, my body, my life, the moment that I like left. It was like, oh, thank God, the dream is back. Like I'm back within the illusion of time. Thank God, because that was uncomfortable. So I do know what you mean by it's terrifying. Torus-shaped tubes and fractals were super common when I would do acid or when I would take more than an eighth of shrooms at a time. Word. Are we meant to see these? Are we meant to comprehend these? Meant to, should, could, etc. We are, so, you know, these are all symptoms, I believe, of a population ascending through consciousness into the next density of consciousness. Right now, humans are like in between third and fourth. We're like, hey, we're physical beings, and we move through time linearly, etc. And into fourth density, it's like, how come I can see ghosts? Like, how come I have deja vu? How come that kid can like recall things from their past life? Like, how come I can access like dead people in my dreams? How come I'm better at telepathy than I ever believed that I could be? How come psychic ability exists? Little things like this, when we talk about like more access to the subtle realms. I'm trying really hard not to use air quotes anymore, chat. I swear to God, I'm trying so hard not to use air quotes anymore. I think that air quotes are like, I used to really rely on them, and I'm trying really hard to just like speak and not put my fingers into air quotes. Because I don't know how useful that is. Air inverted commas. What's the purpose of learning about any of this, one might ask? Well, I don't know. I think it's personal for everybody. I think I learn about this stuff because I'm passionate about it, and it helps me understand the nature of my existence, I guess. And it helps me to be a little bit more comfortable with this whole vibe we've got going on of there's a dying paradigm that we are trying to move away from. So what's next? A lot, you know, what's after postmodernism? What's after late capitalism? Where do we go from here? There's infinite options, but we're at choice, I guess. And just like, it helps me just to like get some sort of grasp on like these weird quantum concepts or geometrical concepts, or I don't know. I've appreciated the languages of math more than I ever have in the last like 5 years of my life, I would say, as opposed to like how I was as a child. Hey, Rude Beast. Why did we decide to call them air quotes when apostrophes was sitting right there? Air apostrophes, that's very good. Why not, I says. Exactly. I think I get defensive sometimes because in certain groups of friends who are so concerned with certain priorities, I think that like these sorts of concepts can seem absurd or irrelevant, and to me I find them to be like exceedingly relevant, like frustratingly relevant. Like if only we could all get on the same page about this thing, maybe we could all get on the same page about that thing, you know, that sort of vibe. And everybody has things that they're passionate about, so that's something that I guess I'm working on. Let me go get that book, and so I can talk to you guys about densities. Hold on, I'm gonna unplug this. Okay, testing. So yeah, Prism of Lyra. This is a really good book. It's really short. It's just like a fun. I think my favorite thing about a lot of this stuff is even if you don't like believe. Oh fuck! I gotta have a swear jar, but for every time I put air quotes. Every time you don't believe in something or whatever, even if you don't believe in whatever the words are, it's a fun read. Like same thing with all the crazy Sasquatch books I have. It's like, I don't know, it's just different. It to me it felt like collecting strange like tapes from the 80s, like collecting these weird books from the 80s that were about like ET contact and stuff. And then the more I read of them, the more I was like, oh my god, I'm seeing all this corroborating information, and it's lining up synchronistically with stuff that's happening in my life, blah 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 blah. We're all on our own journeys, blah blah blah. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about densities of consciousness. Let's go. It's in the first chapter of this. Check it out. Sick. Super sick. First density. Is everyone listening who wants to learn about densities? First density, awareness as a point, physical matter. So we're not talking about dimensions anymore, which are like, you know, measurable, like methods of observation, I guess. We're talking about density, which is like the vibration of consciousness itself. First density, awareness as a point, physical matter. This frequency level is the most basic. It provides the matter and energy for the creation of atoms and molecules. The basic life forms of mineral and water, for example, are all operating from first density frequency. Humans possess this frequency within themselves as well. It makes up the basic genetic codes. Makes sense as well because we have a lot of water inside of us. Seems like, I don't know, I just think of particles. I just think of like building blocks. First density, awareness as a point, physical matter. Second, and this is also, oh shit. Who's that, Chris Mack? Thank you so much, Chris Mack. Thank you. How many is that? Thank you. Hello, Chris Mack. Instead of making more bit alerts, I just made the ones I have fill up the whole screen. I still haven't gotten around to making new ones. I've been messing with this new green screen setup. I have not made new alerts. Oh my god! Thank you, Chris Mack. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be so loud. Well, the timing worked out nicely. Thank you so much, Chris Mack. Oh my god. What I need to do with bit alerts is make it so that more than one can be played at the same time. And also I want to like animate specific ones so they like come in and come out and come up and come around. And thank you so much, Chris Mack. Oh, Chris Mack. Oh, Hamlet. We're talking about densities of consciousness. It's really boring, but it's necessary. I'm forcing my chat to eat their vegetables because I have them hostage. Chris Mack, you are extremely generous. Thank you. Oh boy. I think when I'm doing the dogs, like I'm going to be dog sitting down the street for most of October. And I think that'll be like a really good time to like walk over here and just like, or just like while I'm over there watching the dogs, I can just like be drawing new alerts and then animating them when I like walk back over here and stuff. We'll see. We'll see what works. I want to make this stream as good as I can make it. It's a process though. Everything takes like a long time and a lot of work and stuff. So I really appreciate everybody following and like being here and being interested in the things that I'm interested in. Because I speak pretty passionately about it. Let's put it that way. First density. Yeah, we were talking about first density. We got minerals, we got water. First density, awareness as a point, physical matter. Let's talk about second density. Is everyone down? Second density. Don't worry, there's only 7 because it's like the octave of a scale. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that something to think about? Isn't that neat? Awareness as a line is second density. Biological matter. Development of a group or species identity. So now we're thinking in linear terms. Isn't that neat? Isn't that interesting? The consciousnss expressed by second density vibration does not possess self-awareness or ego. Okay, so Plant Danny, what you were talking about earlier, how you were like, oh, these things don't have consciousness. Like, I think so it all comes down to semantics for me. Consciousness for me is like love. It's everything. It's like the building blocks of existence, etc. But self-awareness, ego, that's the kind of thing where definition-wise, I'm thinking about that more in terms of like being anchored into a personality. Like whereas I see the term consciousness as being more infinite, being more all-encompassing. But ego or personality or self-awareness, I guess, people throw around sentience. A lot of, in English, a lot of people use sentience and consciousness like interchangeably, which again, it's semantics. So whenever I start talking to someone about something like this happened at TwitchCon, like I need to get a feel for their lexicon before I can like respond to them. Like Sybil and I and a bunch of friends went to a paranormal panel at TwitchCon, and I really wanted to ask a question, but I had to sit and listen really hard to gauge where their paradigm of reality is. Like, how much do they let into their paranormal investigations that isn't empirical, measurable science based on like the devices that they bring along? Do they factor in like intuition? Do they factor in vibes? Do they factor in the nature of what I believe to be like the nature of consciousness, etc.? That interconnectivity, that telepathy, do they factor any of that in? Do they believe in Sasquatch? Which was that ended up being my question. They deliberately did not. They ran out of time before me or Sybil got to get up to the microphone, which I think is because we were talking throughout the entire presentation and we looked like bad news. We were really rowdy, relatively. We weren't that rowdy, but Sybil and I kept whispering to each other throughout the whole thing, and I think they were just like, we don't need to, these two are too attractive and too well-dressed, and I think that we are scared of them. And we're scary. I get it. We're very scary people. We have very intense opinions, and we're very intense. Sybil did talk to the people she wanted to afterwards, though, and she got to like ask some like real questions, which was pretty cool. I just sort of was like I was really soft because I didn't want to be antagonistic. I hung back and I talked with this other woman who wanted to get a question in about like prayer and like protection, because Sometimes when you're talking about paranormal investigation and someone starts to bring in some of the intuitive side, like the more consciousness focused side, it's usually in the context of religion. Specifically in America, it's usually in the context of Christianity. So people start talking about protection, demons, blessings, etc., which is all valid, because whatever your belief system is going to be your paradigm going into any situation. That's just the way it is, I guess. I don't like to speak too objectively or absolutely about things, but whatever your belief system is, that's probably going to color your experience as you're walking into like a liminal space or a situation that invites like weird, high strangeness, so to speak. So if you believe in a paradigm of angels and demons, you're probably going to get something that validates your paradigm of angels and demons. Sometimes interdimensional presences, etc., can even appear, if you do have visions, appear. How do I word this? In a way that your mind is like prepared to receive it. This is played around with really beautifully in movies like Contact, when Jodie Foster meets the aliens and it's like, oh, we're here as your dad, because that seemed comfortable. Things like that. Sometimes people call them screen memories, etc. Like how a lot of Zeta Reticuli are often mixed up with owls. The owls are not what they seem in Twin Peaks. All of this stuff, it's like, oh, one person saw it as a fairy, one person saw it as a gnome, one person saw it as an alien, one person saw it as a ghost. Like, it's all just whatever paradigm you are prepared to in that moment receive the phenomenon as. And you may not even receive the phenomenon energetically, visibly, whatever. And that's also valid. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, doesn't mean that it did happen. It's all, like, that's the hardest thing about so much of this. And when you get into pop quantum science, you can say and believe, like, whatever you want. And that's kind of, like, part of the freedom of, like, being alive. It's really hard to talk about without sounding crazy. So I invite sounding crazy. Second density. Most species within the plant and animal kingdoms exist here in second density. However, their placement in density depends upon many additional factors, including the presence or absence of ego. We were talking about ego as that anchor. Okay, so that's second density. Third density of consciousness, volumetric awareness. Ego. So ego is fully introduced at this point, whereas in second density, it does not possess ego. But it's a spectrum. All of these are a spectrum. So third density, loss of group identity. So now we're focusing on the individual. Ooh. Development of individual identity, ability to remember past and cognize the future while retaining present awareness. All I keep thinking of are like using the analogy of human civilization. Like, for some reason, I just keep going back to like America. I keep going back to like the romanticized individualism of America and how like brutally, beautifully third density that is. I'm just looking out for me and mine. Like, I care about my personal freedoms over the collective benefit. Like, the individual is God above the collective, etc. These are dramatic, perhaps exaggerated ideas, but I really feel like when we think about like stereotypes of America, for instance, and being like a world power, being like a leader in what it means to be like a human being on planet Earth. Is that really a leader? Like, is the idea of the individual above all else, is that really leading? Maybe it felt like it did for a while. I don't know. Just fun questions to think about. This is the density where human beings emerge. We're talking about third density. It is a vibration that creates the illusion of separation and thus a challenge toward awakening. I'm sorry that I keep stopping to rant, but I have so much to say. One of the most common questions, like I'm taking this really, really foundational, like pop quantum spirituality class in addition to like these other classes. Because it's just sort of like expected of me at this point in my stage of like learning and schooling and stuff. And there's a lot of people in the class. There's like 60 to 80 people depending on the day. There's usually going to be someone who brings up war and like unrest. And like why would we choose war? Why does war exist? Why do bad things happen? Why does violence occur? Why is there unfairness, etc.? I think something, and there's no like satisfactory answer to that unless it comes from like within the person, like justifying to themselves why bad exists. Air quotes again, but it's, for me, like right now, there's infinite ways to answer this, but for me right now, it's about challenge. Oh, we're more divided than ever. I don't believe that. I believe that we're more aware of our division than ever. I think there's a difference there. And the difficulty that comes with that is challenge. And we are fully capable of like encountering and like dealing with this challenge. These challenges. Like, at least I believe so. It becomes harder, I think, when it feels like we're drowning in challenge. And there may feel like there's no way out or whatever. That in itself is its own challenge. And I think that we always grow, like inevitably change is, I believe, change and growth occur all the time, whether we want it to or not. So, like, when we are presented with challenge, how do we move through that? How do we adapt? How do we, oh, here come the air quotes. How do we overcome? Some people feel a need to dominate a challenge because they need to win. I don't know. I just feel like today I'm just going to keep going back to that sentence. It's all valid. What if you lose a challenge? Do you die? Do you fail? Is that a loss? I don't know. Did you learn something from the perceived failure? Is that a loss? Maybe in a third density paradigm, sure. Where there's winners and losers, sure. I don't know. And we have fun with paradigms of winners and losers. We still have sports. I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep reading. Whew! Presently, humanity is going through a transition period into fourth density reality, which can account for the many rapid changes the human race is undergoing. Challenge. This is the frequency that expresses the most separation from the whole, and that makes sense because it's smack dab in the middle of the octave. Again, thinking about densities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like notes of a scale, a musical scale. So 3 is going to be right in the middle. 3.5 would be right in the middle. I guess 4, the cusp of 4 is technically right in the middle if it's a full octave. 3.5. Sorry, I'm bad at math and conceptualizing things. Anyway. But that makes sense why we would feel more polarized now than ever before. You know, that whole but we're now divided more than we've ever been. Like everybody's polarized more than they've ever been. It's like, yeah, the slingshot's being pulled back. The pendulum is about to swing. I think that that great precipice of change can be scary. I think that to a lot of people, revolution means violence or death or loss, etc. Whereas to others, maybe revolution means like new growth and new beginnings. To some people, the world ended in 2012. To others, it just began. What's the difference? You know, birth, death, very, very close to each other. It's sort of like an entrance and an exit to the same hotel lobby, if you want to use a crude metaphor. Thank you, Danny. This is the frequency that expresses the most separation from the whole. It is from here that many lessons about integration are learned. Lessons. That's like the big lessons. Lessons. Why am I fighting with my best friend? I don't know. Maybe there's a lesson for both of you to learn. Maybe sometimes lessons are kind of hard. Maybe sometimes there's challenge. I'm repeating this because it's hard for me to remember it. Like, I'm a human, just like all of you. I swear to God, I'm a human. Challenge is difficult. It's inherently difficult. That otherwise it wouldn't feel like a challenge. But every time, I don't know about everyone else, but every time I'm able to surmount some sort of challenge in my life, or move through some sort of challenge, or integrate, that's a better word, integrate some sort of challenge into my life, I feel like I've grown for the better. TwitchCon, traveling by myself, etc., I feel like I grew for the better. And it also simultaneously felt like I was returning to a source, self. It was like, well, of course I should feel comfortable traveling places on my own and seeing friends. Because that's what I just like innately would like to do. It feels like a passion deep in my heart. It didn't necessarily, like, it felt like I was leveling up into a new era of myself, but it also felt like the more that I level up, the more that I'm returning to who I truly am, which is different for everybody. But with the trajectory of my own life, I feel like I was born into this world and I like remembered who I was. Then I was, through social conditioning, I lost sight of who I was and I forgot. And it became about other things, very tied to third density. You know, act this way, behave that way, dress that way, get this kind of job. You must have this much material wealth in order to be like a functioning X or whatever. You must do this by this time or you are failing. It's very third. And it can be fun to set goals for yourself. But not if your whole life becomes about like self-flagellation. Oh, I didn't complete the goal on time. Oh, I don't have the same thing as other person does, or whatever. You know, comparison, individualism. I've often noted a shift in global consciousness towards the multiverse, quantum energy, and things that were once sci-fi to 50th generation parents feel there is a resonance catching itself, dreamcatcher, and moving against entropy. Intelligence is increasing, I can feel, but the scope keeps getting bigger, exponents, more onion layers, despite naysayers. Yes, I think that that's all inherently a part of the shift from third density into fourth density. I think that those are all symptoms of just becoming more and more aware of the subtle realms of existence. And we're always a choice. If that shit makes people uncomfortable, that's fine. I'm sure like they're experiencing that in their own way. For some reason, I just like I really want to talk about it openly because I want to normalize it. I want to help normalize this progression. More entropy, more war. What do you I think it can feel like we're experiencing more of that stuff just because of the slingshot metaphor. Like darkest before the dawn, you know, it's tense until like the string is let go of, etc. We're working stuff out. If like to put it into extremely like, oh, the view getting bigger? Sure. More awareness of more conflict. More access to more awareness of more conflict. There are conflicts that have been going on like the entire time over the last 100 years, but only like recently are people are like, hey, did you know that this conflict's been going on for 100 years? So it feels like it's now, you know. Does it just keep getting like rubber band stretching? What it are you referring to? I get, yeah, sure. Like in terms of that metaphor. Yeah, I'm gonna keep reading about third density. It is here from the many lessons about integration are learned. This is the most intense of all levels in its cultivation of growth within the self. Cetaceans, dolphins, and whales presently exist simultaneously in third and fourth densities and are transitioning out of third along with humanity. The consciousness of primates exists in third density as well. The evolution of primates is becoming increasingly apparent as one begins to observe them displaying several characteristics that were once thought of as indigenous only to humans, such as language acquisition and pathological behavior. The shift getting more apparent. Yes, yeah. Like, yeah, I believe that's also why, like, I think more and more people are like turning towards spirituality, religion. More people are experiencing paranormal activity, etc. It's just like the fabric is becoming more visible. That makes up the tapestry. That's, do you use fabric in a tapestry? Like, and since I'm living in a universe where humanity didn't destroy itself with nuclear weapons, we chose not to do that 70 some odd years ago. Now we're in a place where it's like, okay, now we have to clean up. We have to like figure out what the fuck we're doing here. And like why and how. Hey, little lip. Sure, I mean, there's always time. I'm just going to continue to act as if like, because I feel like I do more productive work when I move toward like something like I'm over being afraid of being like annihilated. I think that we like made a choice as a collective not to do that. Even though every day the news is like, we're on the precipice of annihilation. It's like, yeah, I know. I think we've lived in that for like hundreds of years, or especially in like the last several decades. Yeah, I don't know. So with that constantly clicking, like ticking clock, what are we going to do with our time? I don't know. That's up to each of us to decide. Like rubber or a tapestry. Yeah. There are easy metaphors, I think, to like help illustrate these concepts. So yeah, third density. And we're moving into fourth density. So fourth density, containment of volumetric awareness. So first density was awareness as a point, physical matter. Second density was awareness as a line, biological matter, and the development of group or species identity. We are all daffodils. We are all hedgehogs. Third density, volumetric awareness. So it becomes the sphere. So that's how the densities can apply to dimensions. Because third dimension is the sphere. Third density is volumetric awareness. Loss of group identity, development of individual identity. Ability to remember past and cognize the future while retaining present awareness, which means awareness of like linear time, I think. Oh, in my past, this happened, so therefore I am this way, and I'll probably be like that in the future, or whatever. Or I'll aim to be like that in the future, etc. Third density, third density. It's all about me. It's my hero's journey. I was a child, and I faced hardship, and now I'm an adult, and I'm learning from stuff. Hero's journey, great American novel, Death of a Salesman, Homer. This is so stupid. Fourth density. What's after that? What's after that? Don't you feel like do you ever feel like why do we still wear neckties? Why are we still trapped in the 1950s? Don't you think enough decades have passed that like we should have moved on a little bit more from the like dream of the 1950s? What happened there? What got stuck there? What got stuck there? What are we still clinging to there? Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is a great example. The waning of the patriarchy. The loss of the American dream. The Joe Biden stepping down. It's time for something else. And yes, right now that something else doesn't feel all that radically different, but we shall see. Fourth density, containment of volumetric awareness. Containment of volumetric awareness. Superconsciousness. Reintegration of group identity. So the third density was all about the individual and the loss of group identity. Fourth density, we're back to reintegration of group identity without the loss of the ego identity. I am an individual as part of a collective of individuals. I have my own goals, my own biases, my own preferences, and so does everybody else. And there's a lot of us sharing the same planet, the same space, the same dimension. We're all here. All of our needs and desires feel valid. How can we account for everybody? How can we provide for everybody? How can we allocate resources, of which we have enough, to everybody? Hive mind? No, not necessarily hive mind. No. It's like approaching hive mind, I would say. I feel like, I feel like once we get into fifth and sixth, that's when we start like talking about that. Unless your definition is... So do you believe that within your definition of a hive mind, do each of the individual parts still retain an individual ego? I feel like in our representations in science fiction, like the Borg or what have you, there is a loss of individual ego. So within fourth density, there is the simultaneous awareness of the collective as well as the individual, which is possible. We tend to think in terms of either or. That's very third density, which is fine, again. And again, I'm talking out of my ass. Like every 5 minutes, I feel like I need to say, chat, I'm talking out of my ass. Feel free to argue, feel free to question, feel free to tell me that I'm wrong, because I am not right about everything all the time. I'm just trying to like grasp these things along with everyone else. Fractal models after the 1970s. What are you talking about? Strange shift beginning. Yes. Without like a specific understanding of what you're referencing, all I can say is yes. Yes. As vibration, we're back to a fourth density explanation. I would think yes. If I think something like a Neuralink-enabled hive mind, then people would want to retain an individual consciousness as well as access to a collective. Okay, interesting. Yeah. As vibration... Oh, also, we can achieve that without a Neuralink if you believe that telepathy is real and can be developed. If you believe that telepathy is an inherent aspect of human ability, human capability. There will be no need to implant our brains with microchips if we just remember like our access to telepathy. That's a belief that I have. And then I'm sure tons of like tech people don't share. I think that they're both roads to the same place. One just involves getting a microchip surgically implanted inside of you. And why go through all that trouble? You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessary. Telepathy by whatever means. I know. I don't want my telepathy to be sponsored by a corporate entity. I don't want my telepathy to have to come with like monthly updates, you know, or a terms of service. That's like shackling telepathy to late capitalism, in my opinion. Yeah. I think that my preferred route going forward is balancing out the development of consciousness, spirituality with our development of technology. I think that we've, because of late capitalism and especially our xenophobia from the last 100 years, where it was like, who's going to develop the bomb first? And who's going to wield it in the right way or whatever, you know, right way. I think that there was this huge push to develop technology and completely abandon... Oh, we're losing frames. Okay, we're back. I think that there was a huge... I think there was a huge push to develop technology, and maybe in the mainstream culture, be more dismissive of like internal development, spiritual development, consciousness development. Whereas if those could be developed at a pretty balanced level, there would not be like a need to fear AI. There would not be a need to fear, like, things wouldn't be weaponized in order to gain control and gain power. It's just like, oh yeah, this could help people. Let's utilize it so that it helps people. Instead of like, oh, this could help me. Let's utilize this so that we can beat out the competition. Doesn't that feel like a focusing on the individual as opposed to an individual within a collective of individuals who all have needs, all have desires? And I see it. I see it. I really don't believe that we're like doomed to be more and more polarized until we all just obliterate ourselves. I really don't believe that. I think that we passed that point. I think that it feels like that right now in 20 whatever because of our access to information. And I see that more as like a blessing than a curse. What's up, Galoigi? It's great to see you. Okay, we're still talking about fourth density though. Hello to you. Hi, Gal. As vibration increases, yeah. So just to go over it again, reintegration of group identity without loss of ego identity. Simultaneous identity. The individual can exist within the collective of individuals, and everyone is valid. As vibration increases, perception of past, present, and future become more fluid, along with the ability to interface with multidimensional and multi-density realities. So, talking about deja vu, talking about premonitory dreams, talking about paranormal experience, etc. As vibration increases and we become less reliant on physical density, not that we're all going to become ghosts and just wisp away into the ether like in Avengers or whatever. It's a very gradual process, and there's a pretty much like practically infinite steps between here and there. So as we're shifting, some of the symptoms might be, oh fuck, I see dead people, etc., to just put it bluntly. Okay. Negatively oriented consciousness becomes more difficult to maintain. That's one of my favorite things. It just makes less and less and less sense to maintain a perspective of what we might define nowadays as negative. Air quotes again. I swear to God. I need to make an alert that's like, Pander, stop doing air quotes. Stop doing air quotes. But why wouldn't negatively oriented consciousness be more difficult to maintain? If we're aware that we're individuals and we're aware that we're in a collective of individuals, as opposed to I'm the only individual and everyone else is wrong. That feels very negative. That feels very limited. Whatever your definition of the word negative is, whether it's based in fear, limitation, restriction, control, anger, whatever. as we shift further and further throughout these densities of consciousness, it becomes more and more difficult to hold on to that grudge. It makes less and less sense. It feels more and more absurd. And it's hard to fathom because we're still moving through that. Presently on Earth, fourth density reality is overlapping third. In humanity's case, this can account for the increased desire for unity, peace, and unconditional love, as opposed to the illusion of separation that characterizes third density. The vibratory rate of one's reality is stepped up, and therefore one may be faced with personal issues in a much more rapid and intense way. Did that come across? I dropped a lot of frames. Do you need me to read? I'm going to read that sentence again. The vibratory rate of one's reality is stepped up, and therefore one may be faced with personal issues in a much more rapid and intense way. Why is everybody in therapy? I don't know. Maybe it's time we address ourselves and ourself. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to end every sentence today with I don't know. It's up to you to decide. Don't worry, gal. I'll give you a reading. I'm just going through these densities. After fourth density, I'll give you a reading, and then we can come back to the densities. Well, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. Maybe I'll finish out the densities first. So we're being faced with our personal issues in a more rapid and intense way. It is easy to see how this is coming into play with the... Oh my God, the next sentence. That's so funny. It is easy to see how this is coming into play with the thousands of individuals on Earth who are in therapy, in substance abuse programs, engaging in humanistic efforts to better the planet. This is the frequency of responsibility. This is the frequency when one begins to remember the encoding of free will. This is the last frequency where physical bodies are the vehicles for the expression of consciousness. Hence, many civilizations choose to spend long periods of time within this density. Makes sense. And we're just entering right into it. So don't worry if you're worried about, oh no, is everything I know and love gonna like go away or something? It's like, just no. This is like, I'm talking about bajillions and bajillions of years in terms of like each step of these levels of density. Even if time applies, and it doesn't, because right now in the present, all of them exist. Just we're able to communicate because we're vibrating at the sort of like late third, early fourth, where we're just physical enough to live in bodies that live through linear time, and we have ego, but we also are aware of the collective. We're aware of empathy. We're aware of the needs of others. We're aware of improvement. And we see where improvement could be made. And we want to help. There's a desire to better things. When thinking about these things, I always end up coming back to the question, am I trying to know the unknowable? Sure. I would say every day of my life, I'm trying to know the unknowable. And I'm happy to do that. I think it's very popular in certain like paranormal lectures and fields to be like, and we may never know. And it's like, okay, I would like to know. Like, not to be arrogant, but I want to keep going. I want to go as far as I can, like with that stuff. I read a lot of things that provide me with sometimes very satisfactory answers to the UFO question, or what, air quotes again, chat. Or what's a Bigfoot? Why are ghosts? Is there life after death? We may never know. I would like to get to a place where I feel comfortable with my own belief system, like strong enough to be like, I have at least a decent enough for me explanation of that question. If someone's like, hey, what is this? What is that? Does this happen when that happens? I want to be able to be like, I don't know, but here's a fun idea. That's also why, like, how do I pronounce your name? Oh, Blip. I'm sorry. I wasn't reading it as Blip. I was reading it as Lithrip. What's up, Cake Rat? It's good to see you. I think another trope you hear a lot, and it's like sort of like a safety net for a lot of paranormal investigators and so forth when they're on podcasts or giving a lecture. It's like, well, I come from a healthy skepticism. I'm always going to be skeptical. And so for me and my stuff, I want to be the person sitting at the table who's like, I come from belief. Like, I want to come from the opposite end of the table. I want to just be like, oh, sure, I'll believe in that. And then just like dive right in, because I've found that I experience more of the phenomenon that way. Obviously, I'm practicing discernment. Obviously, it's a huge, like, ongoing journey of how much do I allow myself to believe when I'm investigating or considering a certain topic. Like, so far, it's basically like as much as I'm comfortable with, and that's where I stop. But if everyone else on the planet can come from skepticism, I would rather come from belief, because I feel there is a dearth of that. Whereas the skeptics would be like, oh, everyone already believes. Haven't you seen? Everyone's a believer. I believe everyone's a skeptic. So I'm coming from that perspective. And obviously, I'm always trying to work out like a healthy balance and so forth. I would rather induce insanity in order to experience the phenomenon rather than like flirt with it for my entire life. Hence the like overindulgence of psychedelics in my early years, etc. And like some people, I don't know, get kind of weird with that path though, and it's definitely something to like hold some level of caution. Skepticism is most useful when the belief feels too convenient, dubious, or serves someone else's agenda too well. Yes. I find that I am skeptical of other people's methods, other people's approaches, etc. I do have a large amount of skepticism like within me. I just find that like I have it about things that other people don't. Like, I feel like I'm the puzzle piece to other researchers and other investigators, where like, oh, I believe wholeheartedly in this, but I don't believe in that. I'm usually like whatever the flip side of what their thing is. I'm just finding that as I attend more events and lectures and sign up for, panels and what have you. And that's just where I'm comfortable. That's not something that anyone else needs to adopt into their own philosophy or whatever. But I just have experienced a hell of a lot more when I was like, oh yeah, I could see that happening. Okay, let's keep moving because I wanna get to this reading for Gal. Let's talk about fifth density. Are we okay with that? Fifth density? There's only 7 of these. Experiential awareness of I. I is in quotes. Experiential awareness of I as a group identity, not bound by linear time. So here we're starting to get probably more into like different definitions of hive mind, etc. But not necessarily. I think that our definitions of hive mind are shaped harshly by our science fiction, like narratives. We think of like I just always go back to the Borg, or we think of like insects. There's a beautiful card in one of these decks that I work with that is about the concept of hive mind and like thinking about it in a more gentle, positive connotation. Fifth density, not bound by linear time. Experiential awareness of I as a group identity. In this density, sentient consciousness begins to awaken to its heritage. This is the density of wisdom. Talk about heritage in terms of like our connection to source consciousness, our connection to all that is, our connection to whatever it is, the thing itself that like produces existence, etc. You could say consciousness, you could say God, you could say the universe, you could say all sorts of things. It's up to us in our own vernacular, whatever we feel most, whatever we resonate most with. 2D to 3D, maybe disbelief in our flight. Are you talking about density or dimension? Maybe disbelief in our flight resolved in our spirit in this time by achieving flight ourselves. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Like we invented planes so we no longer have to astral project, whereas we might have more freedom if we reteach ourselves how to astral project. But the power of flight, like the Wright brothers, you know, I don't know. Is that where you're going with that? You're speaking very poetically, which I really enjoy. Is this I also inclusive of multiple identities, personalities within a single body? So in fifth density, we're beyond physicality. In fifth density, it's like identity becomes like non-physicalized. What's up, Monster? It's good to see you. I think that could be the case, Cake the Rat, in like fourth and third. I think fourth more particularly because I feel like multiple identities within a single body, that's like that's one of the aspects of like the expansion of the progression of consciousness, where it's like, wait a minute, like maybe more than one perspective can be housed within one vehicle. Maybe there's an infinite amount of ways which consciousness can express itself. There's a beautiful, and this is very different, obviously, but like certain channelers get asked about certain like psychological conditions and so forth, like and there's all sorts of ways to interpret it, but there's Bashar has a beautiful like thing about, like, he's asked about like, oh, like why do trans people exist or something, and I'm paraphrasing, but there's this like very lovely gentle way of just reminding, like, well, you are remembering as a collective that consciousness can express itself in infinite ways. And so you're remembering that the separation of these like categories, like, and binaries, it's all an illusion. And you can play with it, but ultimately there's something beyond that. And again, I'm paraphrasing. If that explanation felt wonky to you, I encourage you to like look up his material yourself or whatever. But yeah, it's very beautiful. It's very validating. I find that like the deeper we progress throughout vibrations of consciousness, the more inclusive everything inherently becomes, because it becomes more about unity and peace and understanding, as opposed to like, oh, that's not the way that it is. Oh, that's not right. That's unnatural. That doesn't make sense. That's, you know, etc. Exclusion. So talking about fifth density, this is the density of wisdom. As one awakens in the wisdom within, they very often want to share it with those who are still focused in the lower densities. And when we say higher or lower densities, there's no hierarchy. It's not like a better than or worse than. It's not like the, you know, non-physicalized people are like smarter. But I don't know, maybe, you know, you could take into account, thank you for the follow. You could take into account that maybe there's a perspective that might be accessed there that we can't quite access yet here, so to speak. That follow alert. Yeah. I made all my alerts like full screen for some reason. Some people did not believe in human flight at that time. They were skeptical, but like a sphere, though, you can freely fly, no longer with the consciousness say we can never fly. Technology move things toward higher density. Sure. Everything's working in tandem, I think. Yeah, like it's all part of the same progression. No matter what's happening, no matter who is developing whatever they're passionate about, it's all happening simultaneously. It like change is inevitable and progression is inevitable. I think, and that manifests itself in a myriad of different ways, very poetically throughout our systems, very obviously through our political systems. There are very like vocal parties that want to move forward. There are very vocal parties that want to relatively move backwards or want to cling on to what is familiar, what is known. And a lot of that feels very individualized, very third density. So it's just inherent. It's just the way that it goes. Like this is very sensitive to speak about. Many from this realm, we're talking again about fifth density, which is a non-physical density, and like sort of beyond what we're right now able to perceive. Maybe we can perceive some of it in dream states and deep meditation, but right now you're on Twitch, you're watching a person in a physical body on Twitch talking to you. I'm assuming you have a physical body, etc. So we're kind of operating in that late third, early fourth, as we were talking about. A fifth density being emerge. Oh, many from this realm choose to become guides for others. So spirit guides, your ancestors, etc. They're like, if you have an imaginary friend who helps you out, or personal angels, etc. Or if you have an alien in your life, or a Sasquatch in your life, or a ghost friend or something, your guides, your community of teachers, and again, family members, etc. Hi, Moody. It's good to see you. There's a level of wisdom from that non-physical density that it's like, oh, I want to help. I want to help. Like, I want to maybe nudge your intuition in a certain way, or I want to sort of like help you choose door number 3 instead of door number 2 or whatever, A fifth density being merges with its family of consciousness, oversoul or higher self, if you will, and begins to remember. This is the first density in which a non-physical orientation is experienced. Note, there is no clear-cut distinction when transitioning from 5th to 6th and 6th to 7th. Because these densities are not physically oriented, there is much blending in these transitions. So 5th, 6th, and 7th, they're all become a soup, like a gradient, a big spectrum. There's no like hard line like, oh, I've switched over to this version now. 6th density, awareness as the dimension itself. That's how collective the awareness has become. Awareness as the dimension itself. This has often been called the, wait for it, Christ consciousness. Is everyone okay with me using that phrase? Does everyone know what that means in a secular sense? Do I need to stop? Thinking about the word Christ in terms of a title, in terms of like like a title. What's up, Ebenezer? It's good to see you. In that it displays a frequency level equal to that of the Christ or the Buddha, etc. From this frequency, a total remembrance occurs. One begins taking responsibility for the whole rather than the self. The process of progressing the self and progressing the whole become one and the same. I'm going to keep moving because this is starting to get into like really out there territory, perhaps. Because remember, where we're operating from is still late third, early fourth. And now, just for fun, I'm talking about these concepts of like 5th, 6th, and 7th densities. 7th density, awareness as the multidimensional experience. So 6th was awareness as the dimension itself. And you get into that, what's known as Christ consciousness, where there's a total remembrance and one begins taking responsibility for the whole rather than the self. Like everything. Awareness as this is really hard to comprehend as a human being. I have to just like tell you that. Christos conveniently comes from crystal in Greek, like a crown. That's beautiful. I did not know that. Awareness as the multidimensional experience. This is 7th density. Group matrix identity or social memory complex. This is the frequency of total oneness or integration. Those who vibrate to this frequency are merged in identity and become a mass conscious whole. They magnetize those in other frequencies and provide the current for the natural flow toward integration. Once 7th density beings reach critical mass, they will progress through the prism of Lyra, which is what the title of the book is. From our point of view, it will then be a black hole exit point and reach the next octave where another adventure awaits. It's a cycle. The breath of the universe, the infinite nature of time itself. It's a cycle. As soon as the ending is reached, it's a new beginning. New game plus, we can think of it in terms of gamer language. After 7th density is new game plus. Does that make sense? Wait, I already read that. Anyway, that was a lot. That was a lot to swallow over the first 2 hours of Reset. Exactly, Monster CC. Exactly. What's up, Taste? It's good to see you. Exactly. Whew! It is important to note that as portions of the whole fragmented through the Prism of Lyra, the Prism of Lyra is just in reference to the original like source fragmentation, whereas like everything was all one. There was a decision to fragment because we wanted to experience choice and difference and learning and growing and existence and all these different densities and whatnot. So that's what it means. Like you think about the album cover for Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, as it fractals or it's what's the word for it? The beam of light becomes it goes through a prism and it experiences difference as all the different shades of the rainbow. That's a wonderful metaphor. I appreciate all my past, present, and future densities. It's just something to teach me. Yes, because it's all happening simultaneously. Refracts. Thank you, Blip. Thank you. It is important to note that as portions of the whole fragmented through the Prism of Lyra, each consciousness retained awareness on all density levels. However, part of the forgetfulness remained. From most highly focused density levels, such as third and portions of fourth, highly focused meaning like really dense, really separated, really separate from all that is. So it's like, I'm a person. I'm a leaf. I'm a hedgehog. I'm this glass. Maybe the glass of water. Whoa, that looks pretty. I don't know. Isn't it cool? Science rules. Yes, Mammoth, yes. And chakras, but yeah, like I think a really apt comparison is the octaves of a musical scale, because music is so directly defined by vibrations. For most highly focused density levels, such as third and portions of fourth, an unawareness may occur concerning the coexistence of other levels. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in an afterlife. YOLO! Which is all valid. It's all valid because it's all here. And we ask to experience all of that. And it's not my place to be like, hey, there's more than just this dimension. You know, there's more than just this world. That's up for each of us to explore in our own terms. That's my relationship to the collective. It's like I'm an individual with my own perspective, and I get so excited about my perspective that I feel this great need to share it with the collective. However, the collective is made up of individuals with individual perspectives, and a big part of me really wants to respect that instead of control it. If I'm trying to control everybody to look and think and act exactly the way that I am, I just don't see any success there. I don't see that as progressing forward. I see that as like clinging to the past or clinging to a more a density of separation. I want to fully immerse myself in unity. And as I said like 2 hours ago on stream, I believe unity is not achieved through homogenization. I believe that it is achieved through the celebration of coexisting difference. Like a bridge crossed when gotten to. Water being less dense as a solid is super important geographically. Water has different densities by state. Yes. Yes. Like the chromatic spectrum and audible spectrum both being represented the way that... Yes. Right. What a coincidence. It's almost as if there's no such thing as coincidence, but that's a different conversation, and that's kind of radical for a lot of people. I really prefer to see things as like synchronicity nowadays rather than, oh, that's just a coincidence. I feel like that's part of what we were just talking about. An unawareness may occur concerning the coexistence of other levels. Oh, I'm going to write off this amazing, miraculous moment as just a coincidence. I believe that tendency is part of the unawareness, part of the forgetfulness. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. And I have to stress that out loud because I feel like I act as if there's something wrong with that. Because I believe so wholeheartedly in progressing out of that mindset for myself. Whew, it's a lot to digest. The microcosm always reflects the macrocosm. As integration occurs, one becomes aware of these other aspects. Yeah. This is visible, the microcosm always reflects the macrocosm. This is visible in the coincidence, air quotes, in the book, of how atomic structure mirrors the structure of a solar system. What a coincidence! Like the fractals that are observable within the like a leaf and the branches and the cells of a tree, etc., can be, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Like leaf cells looking like skin cells or whatever. What a coincidence! But then, of course, you open the door to certain like, well, so you're arguing for intelligent design? No, yes, no, but that's been co-opted by. I would rather like not even say those words together. I don't want to hear a single goddamn person ever. I'm never gonna say those words together ever again. I'm just joking. That's like that phenomenon that everything looks like leaves at different scales. Yes, thank you, Monster. That's what I was trying to say. And you can observe that in measurable, physical, scientific, empirical world and be like, wow, what a neat coincidence. Isn't nature interesting? You can do that. You have free will. You are at choice. Fibonacci was onto something. Wow, what a coincidence. All of these numbers arrange themselves in this pattern. What a coincidence. We can choose to see it as coincidence. We can choose to see it as synchronicity. We can choose to see it as intention. There's a gamut of interpretations that we're all processing. And sometimes we see it as one way and then we live life experience for 10 years and then we were like, wait a minute, I'm going to see that as a different way. It's fun. I don't know. I like to have fun with all of this stuff. Okay. Let's get into a reading for Gal. If Gal's even still here. That was like quite a long little detour we took. I was saying earlier, in the 70s, you have science done on IBMs for the first time about fractal models that actually open the door to special theories about quantum particles. Word! Lead to a solved Higgs boson. Word! That's really cool. Yeah. I would like to learn more about that. Usually the big example that I always bring up whenever I'm talking about like consciousness affecting like reality is the double slit experiment, because that's the most like crude, I feel like. It's like the quickest way to convey like the observer effect, etc. Yeah. It's beautiful to live through a time where we're all like presented with the challenge of finding ways to communicate these concepts to each other in ways that like where we can bridge the gaps of like language and conceptual understanding. It's got to be something like that. Has to be an exact moment. A technology moving us into right. It's all working together. Yeah. You can place a larger amount of significance on that moment if you wish, because you feel passionate about it. But I also believe that everything is like interlocked. Like that event holds the same significance as like a butterfly flapping its wings, you know, blah 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 blah. That sort of like interwoven thing. Sure. Memak, I think I understand what you meant earlier about our astral projecting. Would we maybe throw away our airplanes? We can now fly spiritually. That is a huge topic of conversation, I think, in a lot of ufology, where it's like, is it a nuts and bolts craft? Is it a physical kong craft with rivets? Is it a craft of plasma? Is it a craft of light? Is it a craft piloted by telepathy and signals from the heart, signals from chakras, signals from, or the mind, you know, whatever you're most comfortable with, being the driver. Right, like, is the craft conscious? Is the craft sentient? Does the craft have a personality of its own, etc.? we see a lot of stuff like that when we interact with like certain star civilizations, or it's really hard to like put this into like verbiage. Yeah, like I guess I don't need to. That's all I really need to say about it. I've seen some kind of thing and I'm now in the know, basically. Nice. Okay. I don't know if Gal is still here. We were talking about Earth, connection, faith, and authenticity. I'm just gonna like leave these out in case they just come up thematically. And I'm gonna focus on the heritage cards. Okay. Is Gal Luigi here? Can you hear me, Gal Luigi? Am I making contact with Gal Luigi? You know, like technologically, whatever it is, feels like somebody's waving, hey, you're on your way to 4th density? Sure. Yeah. Yeah, like little signposts along the way. Little like markers. Little cairns. Little moments of validation. I wonder if I can like chroma key this better. I do not think Gal is here anymore. That is okay. Let's see if I can get this a little. There we go. That's what's up. See, the lighting in the room changes, so there you go. Okay, well, I'm gonna read a little bit about. We were still on Earth connection. Yeah. The Earth is alive. The Earth is as alive as all life and has a sentience that knows you intimately. Your health and happiness are important and have an effect on Earth. Your inner healing has a profound effect on the circle of life. Excuse me. You can stand for your beliefs, practice sustainable living, and maintain the peace and understanding that love always prevails, though sometimes it can take time to build into form. That is the natural flow of life. This card reminds you that you are part of that flow. The light language is enhancing your connection to Earth and the support of powerful Gaia. It is releasing fear of nature, fear of survival, and fear of humanity's harmful actions. That's very nice. I'd like to release that as best as I can. Look at how like grainy this camera is. Earth connection. It looks nice when I bring it up. Oh, hey, Gal. No problem at all. No problem. You're on your way to a workout? That's fun. Okay, well, I'll get right to you then. I'm just going to finish the last bit of this. Integrate positive perceptions about food, your body processes, and cycles of time. We're talking about Earth connection. Support environmentally responsible companies. Practice sustainable living and connect with nature often. Observe how nature reflects your own beingness. With this deck, like each card kind of comes with a set of like calls to action at the bottom of the page. So these are kind of like some themes that I'm working with today, but in terms of Gal's reading, I'm going to go straight into the Galactic Heritage cards. They are pretty cards. I'm just going to do like a really quick shuffling here. Hold on. Oh, I've been listening to so much XTC. They're just such a wonderful band. I really enjoy them a lot. Yeah, those cards do have, the developer of those cards, she works with light language as a modality, and I'm reading her book about it right now, and it's really interesting. Because again, light language is a really like buzzy phrase that gets bastardized under late capitalism, blah, 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 blah. So people are like, light language? What are you speaking in tongues? Like, there was actually just a paragraph in the previous chapter about like comparing speaking in tongues to light language and what that might entail. And a lot of it's just about context and like, are you attaching this to a specific like belief system or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Much love and peace and clarity to Gal on the way to Gal's workout. Exercise is really great. I'm excited. I'm gonna go on a nice walk after this stream, I think, because I missed my walk yesterday, and I think that'll put me in a really nice mood physically for like, because I'm excited for the debate tonight. I'm excited. I'm trying really hard to like speak less and less and less about like politics on stream. But when it does, because it's inevitable, it's part of the fabric of our reality right now. Like I'm just trying to like figure out how I can be beneficial in terms of like sitting in that energy for 2 minutes and then stepping out of it or whatever, you know what I mean? Love a walk. While looking out into nature today, I thought to myself, why don't the squirrels just let me pet them? I have good intentions. Come on. That's cute. On the path to the neighborhood shamanism. Hey, Steph. You can take a look at the queue by doing !list. That's apparently how these commands work. Cool. Awesome. Perfect. Gal, I don't know if you're driving, but if possible, could you give me 3 numbers between 1 and 9? Or give me like any numbers between 1 and 9. Fuck it. No, let's do 3 numbers. Let's do 3 numbers between 1 and 9. If that's not possible for you, I'll choose them myself. That's okay. I don't want to like make you be in harm. Make you be in harm. Yes, Plant Danny. 3 numbers between 1 and 9. Glad I could catch you, Pander. Also, I tend to lurk, but the stuff about fourth density really popped out to my mind. It's fun. I think 2, 4, and 8. Thank you. Awesome. Wow. Cool. Okay. Cool. Very, very, very cool. No one ever picks those numbers. Very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Already, I'm just like a fan of this reading. Very cool. Very cool. You know, Galoigi's a very cool person. I'm very, very glad that I got to sing karaoke with Galoigi in person. That was like a really special time. You're a very special person, and it's nice to get to hang out with online folks. IRL. Okay. That's cool, Danny. Okay. Hold on, I really like this. I actually just really like these 3. These 3 in this order. Okay. Let's see what we're working with here. Beautiful melting pot. 75 Earth future. Talking all about transition into fourth density. How do I? Okay, I just want to make sure people can see that. Melting pot, Earth future. 75. Beautiful. Beautiful card. Referring, of course, to the very potential future of Earth that is pretty much like our present. Just full integration of difference, of diversity. What I was talking about earlier about homogenization, unity not being achieved through homogenization, but unity being a celebration of everybody's differences, and how strong that can be in terms of a planetary population, a community. Let me read from the book real quick. Where is the book? Where's my book? It's right here, chat. I found it. 75. Unity from diversity is one of the most powerful evolutionary ideas for a species. Humanity is an amalgamation of many diverse ET species. It is a direct reflection of the galactic community. Once humankind begins to fully embrace those who are different and sees itself as one people, it will be ready to join the galactic community. This card reminds you that beyond race, gender, skin color, and beliefs, all beings come from the same source. Humans must transcend the fear of those who are different and extend their hearts to all beings in order for this necessary evolutionary step to be activated. I kind of want to reemphasize this deck was developed about 10 years ago, so I feel like some of the language is still going to be like really like urgent. Like, we must do this in order to do that. And I think by now in 2024, there's more of a gentle understanding that, yes, like, we must do that, and we are doing it. We can see it manifesting in our lives. Did you get this last time? It's very possible. That happens a lot of times with people. It's very possible that you got this last time. I can't remember the last reading you had, but as soon as I flipped this, it felt familiar. It felt like oh yeah, this is one of Gal's cards. Like how Steph will often get like a lot of the same cards. Yeah. There is some useful stuff in the commentary that I kind of want to... Yeah, this card refers to Earth's future time stream in which integration has already happened. Integration of beliefs, races, religions, and any circumstance that would create the condition of other. It refers to the time stream in which the unity... Oh my god, mom, boy. Mom!
Okay.
Boy. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mom Boy. Also, I don't know if I can stay for the full reading. You will be off in 5. Feel free to skip to Steph if so. Okay. Off in 5. Let's just flip the other two real fast. You'll be off in 5. Let's just give it to you. Common ground. Beautiful. Hybrid parallel. Common ground. I don't think we've ever had this. Maybe. No. We have had this. I think. I don't know. Hybrid parallel. Common ground. Makes total sense with the melting pot. Makes total sense. We don't even have to like read from the book. I mean, look at that. It's a parallel energy, so it's talking about conceptual hybridity. Does that make sense? Like, it's not talking about a specific race or a specific moment in time. It's just like the very nature of common ground. That's beautiful. Melting pot, common ground. I love these. Okay, let's see. What's the third one going to be? Ooh, is that a Lyran card? Courageousness. Lyra present. Beautiful. What is it going to take? What is it going to take to reach this future of a melting pot that we're really going to be having to access this energy of common ground? But how do we do that? It's scary sometimes to reach across. It's scary sometimes to befriend an other. It's scary because sometimes it feels alien. It can feel foreign. What's something that can help with that? You are a courageous being. You are inherently courageous. The fact that you are alive is an act of courage. So this is already a part of you. It is a big fuel in the engine of your locomotive, shall we say. So things to keep in mind, I guess, common ground. I would love to. I'm going to read from the book for this. I know you have to go, but just for everyone else's benefit, I want to read from the book for this because we very rarely get this card, and it's very exciting that we pulled it. Yeah, melting pot, common ground, courageousness. That's beautiful. I like that a lot, and I hope that you find reward in that as well. I love the courageousness card. You can sort of see like a lion glomming onto the head of the Lyran. Like, hold on. That's the head, and then that's the lion. Like, it's like nomming. Like, it's really cute. Okay. Galuigi, have a wonderful workout. If you've already left, I love you so much. No need to interrupt. Or no, you're perfectly fine, Mom Boy. Mom Boy, check out how fancy my stream is now. I've got green screens. Oh, you can totally see them because the lighting in my room is uneven. But that's totally fine. This is exactly what you need right now. I love that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you were able to hear it. That's awesome. Thank you for your patience. Seriously. Hey, Stephanie, the witch. Yeah, because sometimes when I get into these streams and people come in like asking for a reading, I'm going off on something that takes like 20 minutes to an hour for me to explain. Yes, the queue is open currently. You can !join, or you can skip the line by tipping or donating. Yeah, where's the, I had the list up. Where'd the list go? Hold on, I'm just gonna bring it up in the chat. There it is. So we finished Galuigi. I'm gonna hit next. I'm gonna hit next one more time. I'm actually not gonna do that. That's actually bad. Because then I forget who I did. I'll just do it this one time. So now we have Steph and Dace. Wonderful. Do y'all mind if I... Oh, see, look. No, I can't do that. Oh. Because now I forgot that we're on Steph. This interface is terrible. Okay. Bye-bye, Gal. Have a wonderful day. You're amazing. I'm going to use the restroom really fast. Please enjoy Star Pals. Maybe just to sound like a youth pastor for 5 seconds, maybe contemplate where these themes enter your life right now. The melting pot of the future, the common ground, and the courageousness of the present. It really does feel like this common ground is the bridge between these two things. I like that it started with the future, like over here. So it's like we have this vision of an idealized future. Well, how are we going to get there? And then what is it going to take right now to access that path for ourselves? I think that's a really interesting order to these three things. I think that's cool. Awesome. All right, I'll be right back. Please enjoy Star Pals.
Go to bed tonight a little less of an idiot than you woke up this morning.
Yes, but...
No buts. Be happy with the developments you have made. Life is not a Hollywood movie where our victories are obvious and everything is based on stupid cycle of good versus evil. Disgusting. Everything is everything. Relax.
What about those who abuse their power? Who make their living through oppression?
They too have merely forgotten that we are all one, all from same source. Even someone as hideous as you is made of same cosmic nonsense as someone as irresistible as me.
That's really nice.
Yes, is all mush and gush. Don't judge book by the cover, blah blah blah. What are we, 5 years old? Now please, if you don't mind, I have laid dormant for a while, and I would like to make some love to my delicious husband. Unless, of course, you would like to stay.
No thanks, Olga. I think they're good.
We should leave now.
Yes, I'll be but a moment. Just have to finish writing this last... Oh my.
When I was a kid, my friend and I had this competition to like. Did you ever play games with like certain types of cars? Or...
Yeah, like punch buggy.
Yeah, well, no, like you'd sort of count them when you saw them, and then you'd keep like a running count of them in your head, like.
You have to remember where you left off every time?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of rough.
Yeah, well, no, it would sort of get to like a point where it would feel like this huge significance in your life.
Okay.
Like you were gaining experience or leveling up or something, you know, like it was a video game.
Sure.
Okay, whatever. Well, my friend and I would play that game.
I don't think you can really call that a game, but okay.
Shut up. No, we would play that game so much, we eventually moved on from cars and started counting, I don't know what you would call them, like double ads?
Double ads?
Yeah, like redundant advertisements.
Wait, what?
Well, not like redundant, but like an ad for an ad.
You mean like an advertisement for other advertising?
Yeah, like your ad here kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and this was still in the 90s when, you know, this sort of thing was still like, you know, considered cool.
What, like recognizing commercialism?
No, like how meta something like that was.
Okay, is that what you did your thesis on?
No, shut up.
Is our new band name gonna be something like Pomo FOMO?
What? What even?
Postmodern fear of missing out.
Okay, no, that is like way too much.
I think it's catchy.
Okay, shut up. Anyway, we used to try and go deeper with the game. Like, one day I totally lied to him, and I said that I saw an ad for an ad. For an ad.
Oh no, a triple ad.
Yeah, like, I don't even know how that would work.
Why would you lie about that?
I don't know, I think I wanted to convince my friend that I was, like, worldly or something.
This was your friend who died?
Yeah, I was...
Test. Okay, we're back. We're back. Thank you. Thank you so much. Steph. It is you. Oh my god, the lighting in here, I tell you, it's a little better. I tell you. Oh, that's okay. I tell you. All right. Very cool. Cool. Since we started that last one with Earth Connection, I just want to read the Faith card really quickly. Pleiades expanding card real fast before shuffling for Steph. Faith. Hold on. Hold on.
Isn't that the man from the pool?
Oh yeah, I was like, where have I seen him before?
Listen to what I have to I've got a job for you.
Did he just break our front door?
Was going soon anyway. I'd been meaning to fix that hinge.
Okay, hello. I apologize for the way I've entered your house.
Who's screaming in here? Oh, did someone finally break the front door?
I realise that. I'm sorry about that. I will pay for it, don't worry.
You know, that hinge has needed fixing. I guess now's as good a time as ever. I'm gonna grab the screwdriver.
No, wait, please hear me out. I just need your help.
I can't tell if you'll need a Star or a Phillips.
Ooh, yes, these are just stripped to hell.
Okay, I feel like you can definitely hear me. Like, there's no way that you can't hear me, right?
Best to get this fixed now.
Okay. Jesus Christ. I need to lock my door. Faith. Faith. Would it be authentic to lock my door? Probably not. Oh, Pleiades. We're in the Pleiades. There's Faith. My powerful capability to create is known within. Cool. Faith is not blind, it is bold. Faith is not blind, it is bold. Faith knows with the heart. Faith chooses from grounded wisdom. All form is compelled toward the magnetic pull of positive potential. The stable atom has a nucleus balanced with positive protons and neutral neutrons, which draws the negatively charged electron. This simplified example of the building block of form is the microcosmic representation of the system of life. We were just talking about that in terms of the micro representing the macro. Faith is wise interaction from a neutral perspective, something the Pleiadians had to cultivate in order to evolve. For a while, they weren't really dealing with neutral perspectives. It was all about feeling like they knew what was best and wanting to help. Faith is first your breath of hope, then your breadth of understanding that you are building new form yet unseen. This card asks you to open your heart to creating your world from love. Allow your actions to come from the positive influence of faith rather than insecurity, force, or doubt. Faith is grounded, realistic, and optimistic. You are neutral, aware of challenges, and focused on positive potentials, which are unseen, yet growing, building, becoming. Faith, F-A-I-T-H, full acceptance in the heart. That's fun. It's always fun when you can make a little acronym. Sometimes I rebel against that because the current minister of our center does that a lot, and I think it's hokey, but hey, I guess if it helps you remember a concept. The light language is balancing you to a deeper understanding of your inherent capability and vast, often unseen support. Where is that? Faith. For Christ's sake. Cool. It is helping you release fears and insecurities that have misled you from your sacred empowerment. That forgetfulness we were talking about. Stay grounded in dealing with life as it is, even while focusing on improvement, you are building it step by step. Release doubts that your life can change for the better. Focus broadly on positive possibility if details discourage you. Do not allow others to dissuade or dishearten you with negativity. That was Faith. I just wanted to talk about that before going into Steph's reading. Okay, Steph. Oh, I'm reminded of that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater song that's like, here we go, That's the vibe I'm going into this reading with. Here we go, Here and Now. That song's called Here and Now. Doesn't get much more freaking relevant than that. That song rocks. But the universe just says what it says when it says. Hey, CJ. It's great to see you. CJ, I picked up a copy of your dice game zine PDF, but I haven't looked at it yet. I have it saved in a folder on my computer where I save, I call it sacred texts. Whenever there's like a fun, whenever there's a text I consider to be sacred, I put it in my folder called Sacred Texts, and I have that folded in there. The lyrics to that song are very, yeah. Well, it's not just me, but I will accept that that is my brand. I mean, what the heck does Pandarsera even mean anyway? How it goes, for sure. 90s new metal Pander coded. Pandarsera's Pro Skater. Very cute. Hold on. I could like do this a little bit more. Woo! There we go. That's just on the, just right here, right on the refrigerator. That's tough. Very cool. Steph, can you please give me 3 numbers between 1 and 9? No. Hey, you want to see something else that's kind of cool? Seven, 3, 1. Okay, cool. 7, 3, 1. 1, 3, 7. A magnet and paper clips? That's cool. That's very cute. I wonder if the tuning forks is too much. Because these streams go so long. It is calming. Maybe it'll be a nice incentive for me to like take less time. But I like to take a lot of time. I like to stream for a long time. I like to really dig into these concepts. One more little flappy shuffle really quick. I swear to God, if we get the power of sound for you, Steph. Okay. Why are you 3? Okay. But the universe just says here. True compassion. I think you've gotten that before, Steph. True compassion. Orion Light future. The future tense of the Orion cards is referred to as the Orion Light because that is when integration was achieved. And the wars stopped, the conflicts stopped. Hey, Recreamy. Onion Light? Onion Light. Ho! It's got layers. True compassion. Look at that. There's so much going on in that illustration. There's a strange foreign blobby thing. The Orion is shielding themselves from the foreign blobby thing, but there's also this little door. This little door that's opening up, and there's wind coming through. Or air coming through. That's very interesting. Interesting. Let's talk about true compassion. 107. 107! That is the second to last. That is the penultimate card in the entire deck. So really reaching that. We can also sort of, like kind of, compare the progression of the cards in the deck to the progression of the density, consciousness densities that we were talking about earlier. Just because at 108, you re-enter the prism and it's all one with source again, and then starting back over, the cycle starts over with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. That's when expansion begins again. So true compassion is just so close to unity. It's like true unity, true source, true wholeness, etc. 107. Let's talk about it. True compassion is a deep recognition that all consciousness is part of a greater whole. Whatever one aspect experiences is experienced by the whole. Thus, when you see pain and suffering in the world, know that pain exists within you too. When you find pain within you and embrace it fully, the whole feels your love and compassion. At first, this may hurt, because it is natural to try to shield yourself from the pain of another. But eventually the love you share will melt away the pain. The Orion Light asks you to not fear pain and to use it as a gateway to true compassion. Yeah. Oh, I love that. The last 4 cards of the deck access the Orion Light, Onion Light, which connects to a very evolved era in Orion history. Within the Orion system, where polarity was at its deepest, the concept of oneness or unity was something incomprehensible. But once the Orions made their transformation, with help from an awakened master, they realized that every person in their reality, even those who were previously feared or despised, is actually just an aspect of themselves. As the species consciousness transformed, true compassion was born, the ability to see every other being in creation as an aspect of the one, and to care for and love others as you would the Creator themselves. With this new awareness, separation could no longer be maintained, hearts opened, and a rapid transformation of the Orion people began. Eventually, the same will happen on Earth. Compassion. I'm gonna leave the commentary. Compassion. True compassion. That's powerful. What's this? Unconditional love. Well, how about that? 107 and 7, Arcturus parallel, unconditional love. True compassion, unconditional love. These are very closely tied together thematically. The Arcturus energy is that of purely unconditional love. I love that. What is this going to be? Generosity. Amazing. Very similar reading to Gal's in terms of like the linearity of this. This is a future card though. Gal's was future Earth, melting pot. This is future Orion, true compassion. Then the middle card was a parallel energy. In Gal's case, it was common ground, the hybrid energy of common ground. This is the Arcturus energy of unconditional love, the angelic energy of unconditional love. And it feels sandwiched between these two because it feels like a means of traversal. And then generosity, the Lyra future card. That's interesting. The last one was a Lyra present card of courageousness. This is a Lyra future card of generosity. Because in the Lyran timeline, generosity came after courageousness. What does it take to give unconditional love and reach true compassion? That's going to take some generosity. Are there places in your life you don't have to share? I already know the answer, but like, just for anyone else listening, are there places in your life right now where perhaps there's like a void where unconditional love could fill it, a void where true compassion could fill it, a better understanding could be reached through these energies that can be propelled forward by generosity? You wonder if you'll get there one day? I think so. I want to just briefly touch on these. I feel like I don't need to read from the book anymore, and it might be like distracting, but it's like it's a crutch, where it's like, what if something in the book like inspires someone, you know? I don't know. What is unconditional love? Human words cannot adequately define it, as its true nature lies beyond human limitation. However, imagine being seen by the universe for who you are, the darkness and the light, and being infinitely loved no matter what. The Arcturus energy is in total balance and loves and supports humanity in this way. It embraces our light and dark sides totally. Now it is time to ask yourself these questions. Am I capable of giving unconditional love? Am I capable of receiving it fully? If the answer is no, find out why not. Those answers will reveal your next spiritual lesson. I'm going to go straight to generosity, 68. An ancient challenge of the Lyrians was to have a generous spirit. They had a fear that if they gave to others, they would not have enough for themselves. Eventually, they healed this pattern. Humans are now facing the same challenge as they explore the issue of generosity, which is amplified heavily under, let's hear it. I just keep bringing up the phrase late capitalism. I think I do that to be a people pleaser. In all honesty, I'm sick of blaming everything in my life on late capitalism. Even though that could easily be like the source of all the problems, it's like, okay, I've identified the source, like now what? You know what I mean? I'm like, it can exhaust me sometimes. I would like to be more generous with that. What's up, Zach? It's good to see you. This is the first time where you let a random number generator decide. Cool. I love that. I love including random number generators into stuff like this. I was thinking about how unconditional love intersects with survival, but we might be at the point where unconditional love is for survival. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would have to like sort of be like, what are you talking about? Like what point are you referring to specifically, I guess? Or like what? I need a little more there. Okay, generosity. Most people have no problem being generous when they feel safe and secure. But can you be generous when you feel insecure? Examine your patterns of generosity honestly. Are you afraid to give, or do you have a resistance about receiving? Balance lies in being able to give and receive equally. That is a true path of transformation. Something that I've been like noticing, like after or doing the math of having enough finances for TwitchCon, you know, and a lot of people in New Age or New Thought are like prosperity. Sometimes you can focus so goddamn much on prosperity, you end up feeling broke all the time because it's not enough. I need to focus more on prosperity because I don't have enough, etc. I don't know. This is a really tricky thing, and it's very, very individual and very personalized to every human being. Something that comes with faith, I guess, which was the card that we read before this reading, is the concept of I will have what I need to have when I need to have it. I will know what I need to know when I need to know it. I will do what I need to do when I need to do it. I will be what I need to be when I need to be it. And that includes, like, you know, being enough, having enough, being in the right place, right time, etc., to purchase the thing or whatever. It's very sensitive. Finances are very sensitive. Health, finances, relationships. What's the fourth one that everyone always talks about? People are always talking about like the four legs of a table. Like you got your health, your finances, your relationships, maybe creative pursuits, maybe creativity is the fourth leg of that table. I don't know. I think it's a false table, but that four-pronged table is brought up a lot in like spiritual teachings, and it's been coming up a lot in like my New Thought classes, and I like to rebel against the four legs of the table. They're like, well, if one's wobbly, the whole table's wobbly. You know, if you're not feeling secure in your finance, you know, and it just feels so like basic, like health, finances, it's like all of these things are inherently intertwined. Yes. But also I think that we rely too heavily on placing value judgments on ourselves as human beings. Like, well, I've got all my relationships in order. I've got all my creativity in order. I've got my health and my finances in order. So I'm a good person. Like, I think that's very problematic. I think that that's kind of touching on what we were talking about earlier with that third density focus on the individual. I think that that can be productive for a limited time. I don't know. Very sensitive, especially when talking about finances with creative types, because we still, I still feel heavily influenced by the trope of the starving artist and the expectation that if you pursue art, you will not be comfortable financially, which is like a sort of conditioned belief. It's hard, and it's up to us as people, individuals within the collective of individuals, to feel out our own relationship with gratitude. I spend a lot of time making myself appreciate what I have. It's helped a lot. I agree. Gratitude is another word that gets thrown around pretty recklessly within like New Thought, New Age communities. I think it's a very, very useful concept when it's not being used to make us feel worse about ourselves. I think everything is useful as long as we don't weaponize it into like a value judgment. Like, oh, how enlightened can so-and-so really be if they, can't get their health together, their finances together, their whatever together. Like, I think that's a very, that's a trap that sometimes we can fall into with ourselves. Not only judging other people, but judging ourselves. Like, oh, as soon as I do this, or as soon as I finish this, what can help with that is unconditional love. Forgiving the self. It's okay. If I can't afford the thing this week, that's fine. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean, it's fine. That's just the way that it is today, or whatever. That's just the current scenario. And yeah, you can think of that lack as being that like intruder. This is getting a little messy. I think I'm injecting too much like personal bias into this reading, but it's a sensitive subject. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over. Generosity. And I think that I know for myself, I'm really conditioned to automatically being like, I don't have enough. Like, I never have enough, which is a preposterous belief. I think to other people who look at my life from the outside, and they're like, well, obviously that person has enough. Living in extreme poverty in this damn world will make you internalize it. But exactly. I live in extreme poverty, etc. Not me, but that belief, that idea. It's very sensitive. And we are we're the holders of our belief systems. As a creative person, my mind rejects thinking of finances, but over the years, my thinking has changed a bit. For some reason, thinking of it in terms of currency and exchange rather than accumulating wealth allows me to face the subject better. Yeah, me too. There was I was in a band with a guy who was like, as soon as I started thinking of it as like an exchange of energy, that like totally softened his relationship with it. Like yeah, and it's so personal. So like me telling my own story may or may not help the listener. Just like over time, I started to have like a different relationship and different definitions and stuff. And then I just stopped feeling so panicky about it all the time and just sort of relaxed. And yeah, I don't know, just through synchronicity and stuff, I started to find more gigs that allowed me to have like more freely flowing, like I would have just enough for, like, I have just enough for this dentist appointment I have tomorrow. I had just enough to go to TwitchCon. And then it's like, okay, back from square one. But how do I accumulate that wealth again, etc.? I go back to work. I do streams. I don't know. It's like a cycle. It's like a flow. My brother's a very different vibration when it comes to money. He accumulates like a great deal. You know, he just deals with larger numbers. He makes a lot and he will also spend a lot, but he loves it. He loves the language. He loves the game of business and money and so forth. So he deals with larger numbers when it comes to that subject. You're better off than you were 10 years ago, but you're still dealing with a lot of that. Yeah. One of the most powerful aspects of Christ's teachings was that he adamantly divorced material wealth from spiritual virtue. A lot of spiritual traditions didn't do that. Yes. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that Jesus did is like really distorted in it's like very weaponized. But that specifically, since we're on the subject of finances, yeah. Material wealth and spiritual virtue are very, very different things. I felt like, or like, that's like an early lesson I think that we learn, but we have so much trouble like shaking it off. Like I feel like in so many of our cartoons or children's storybooks and narratives and stuff, it's like there's this heavy emphasis that it's like, hey, it doesn't matter how much money you have. That's not a bearing on how good of a person you are. And usually the villains are like the rich people, etc., because of like greed and fear of loss, fear of losing the material wealth, and that can lead to the need to control, the need to like control government and control the town and impose your will on other people so that you can maintain that. So there's that, like there's lessons of that and stuff, and then but as we get older, there's more and more pressure to amass. And that's one of the challenges for us to integrate and understand and overcome. Oh, cool, CJ. Grandpa, are you religious? You don't have to answer, but just the way that you wrote that felt very religious. And you don't have to answer that. But I don't know, it's interesting. Like I wouldn't consider myself a Christian, but I do on a metaphysical level have a very good relationship with like the big J. Like we're homies, I would say. Like we're homies. Yeah. I do appreciate Jesus. Yeah. And luckily I don't have a whole lot of trauma with that him and that whole vibe. I have just enough to like have questioned everything at a very, very young age, but it's also like, oh, there's like a lot of good stuff there. And it helps me feel more open-minded when I'm talking with people who are like very like personally like religious. Like it excites me to talk about the lessons and the figures and the stories and so forth that inspire other people. Yeah. Like I'm not doing as well financially as when I had a regular 9-to-5, but I'm still I'm making money with doing what I love. I've been on HRT for 4 years now. I'm in a way less shitty state, and I'm in community with other trans and queer musicians and artists. That sounds like a tremendous amount of prosperity. Like that, like you are you are wealthy as heck. You know what I mean? Do you have a jet ski in your garage? Maybe not. Who needs that when you have community and you have like self-love? I don't know. It depends. It depends. Everything is so fluid. I think that's beautiful stuff. Thank you for sharing that with us. Grandpa, yeah. So do I. And it's hard because it's almost hard. We're still in such like a intense letting go of so many like traumas associated with like historical organized religion, where it's hard to even like bring up certain concepts or certain titles or certain names without being like, oh, so Pander's into that stuff? Oh, I thought she was on our team, you know? It's like, I'm on everybody's team, bitch. Pander Sarah. What do you think it means? That's my curse, is that I'm on everybody's team, except for those who wish harm on other people. And sometimes those who wish harm upon themselves. I'll get pretty intense about people wishing harm upon themselves. I have some baggage with that. Also, I'm not homeless and rarely have to skip meals to get by anymore, so there's that too. That's wonderful. All of that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Immediately, my mind just keeps going to like, can we be generous with ourselves enough to give ourselves unconditional love and give ourselves true compassion? That's like a big, that's what's been triggering me throughout this reading, I think. I think it's cool tonight. Religion. Oh, I was like, what is that, a new Jimmy Fallon show? I think it's cool to dig religion while also recognizing human exploitation in its history. Yes, yes. Discernment, yes, absolutely. Like context, absolutely. Yeah, I think most things that can provide people with great like peace and love can also be weaponized for means of like control and depression and stuff. And so that's kind of what we're learning through this late third density into early fourth density transition. Like, oh, wait a minute. All these institutions are being weaponized against my benefit and against the benefit of the collective in favor of individual benefit. What the fuck? Why do privatized prisons? Why do prisons exist? Period. You know, that's a whole other conversation, and that gets into personal politics, whatever. But I get defensive, I think, because I feel like sometimes my energetic gentleness is mistaken for like a political neutrality or a lack of radicalism. I think that is a surface level take of my character, and I would like to just say that out loud, because I will, like, I have, oh my God, the amount of rage that I've had to work through over the course of my life when it comes to like justice and unfairness and oppression. It's like, oh baby. All right, Steph, I trust that this serves you. I'm going to read about authenticity, and then we'll get into Dace's reading if Dace is even still here. Keep in mind you can tip or donate, and I will get to your reading immediately. If you join the queue, I will get to your reading when I get to it. Dace is still here. Beautiful. I love you so much. All of you are so cool and attractive. Where did my hair tie go? I just dropped my hair tie, and I have no idea where it went.
Oh, the political rage is welling inside of me once again.
Crumbs. Sucks everything is so polarized. I know. I even want to fight against that. I'm like, I don't, like, I want to just like I want to like I want to Leo DiCaprio, I want to Christopher Nolan the idea into everyone's minds, like, what if we're not as polarized as we're being led to believe that we are? What if fundamentally, like, most people want very similar things? And through the mechanisms of late capitalism, blah, 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 you know, bought news, you know, paid for news, paid for like news feeds, paid for timelines, etc. What if it's someone else's interests that we feed into whenever we like wallow in hopelessness about how polarized everything is? What if that's not really what was going on? It's time for me to play the Sandman. It was a really interesting stream. Have a good one. Thank you so much for the follow, Blip. You rock. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining the community. I hope to see you again. Because I really liked the questions that you had and the things that you contributed. And thanks for sticking around. That's very sweet. Like, your open-mindedness and your patience with me is very sweet. Thank you for that.
Oh, where's this hair tie? It's like my last good hair tie. Oh, please.
We're gonna find it, chat. We're gonna find it. We're gonna find it, chat. Oh, shit. Maybe we won't. Maybe it's lost to the ether. Maybe it'll turn up when it turnips. I really want that hair tie, you son of a bitch. I don't even know where it would have gone. All right, Dace, you're here. We'll get that after stream. We'll figure it out. It doesn't matter. Dace is here. Let's read about authenticity. We've never done this format before, where I pulled 3 cosmic consciousness cards, and they've just sort of corresponded to these readings that we're doing. A house divided can't suss out the source of the stank. It's funny. I just find that it's a trap. I just find that it's like rock in a hard place type vibe, or like a immovable object and unstoppable force type vibe. It's just like, well, they'll never get along. Great. Now what? You know? Well, the 2 sides will never see eye to eye. Great. Now what? You know, because change is inevitable. Progress is inevitable. If two parties will never see eye to eye, how do we move through that? There's a bunch of different answers to that. And that's kind of, I think, what we're like sussing out. I also think that our voices are louder than ever before in our current paradigm. I think that as little as it feels like it, I think we're being listened to more than ever before. Even when the news can make it feel like the opposite is true. Authenticity. Authenticity. Sirius. I am safe to be authentic and change with love. I'm gonna burp. Excuse me. An imbalanced ego finds a way to justify actions and victimhood. Woo! How relevant is this? An imbalanced ego finds a way to justify actions and victimhood. A balanced ego understands the perfection of all experience with a neutrality that is open to change. Being authentic starts with observing your inner world. Knowing your inner intent behind your thoughts, words, actions, or inactions is vital to being authentic. You can face challenge and triumph with the same wise neutrality that supports change. When you are authentic, you are creating your future on a strong foundation of wholeness and truth. The Syrians know this foundation to be the fruitful support of new growth. This card asks you to review your intent behind your thoughts and behaviors that feel negative to you. You are tasked to appreciate the negative as equal to the positive, forgive easily, hold boundaries, and remain neutral as much as possible. Be authentic with your emotions without suppressing them or spewing them indiscriminately. You are capable of loving yourself as the perfect imperfection you are, and appreciating others for the valuable reflections they offer. The light language is supporting your deep observance and acceptance of yourself and activating the powerful love that is innate, reflecting life's unconditional love of you. I know it looks like a bunch of scribbles, but they're very comforting. There's just something nice about light language. How's my hair? My hair is getting worse as we go on. You can see I'm getting more crazed as we go on. Be honest with yourself about your feelings. Observe your attachments as they will indicate a deeper fear. Speak your mind clearly without expecting agreement or compliance from others. Learn to say no with compassion. Ooh, learn to say no with compassion. Cool. All right, let's shuffle out these cards for Dace 09, baby cakes. Dace 09, baby cakes. Ayo. Beautiful Dace. Wonderful Dace. I just got hit with a wave of gender dysphoria. I think it's because I'm speaking emphatically and I don't like how deep my voice is right now. In 3 seconds, I might love how deep my voice is. Okay. We're almost there. Every day's different. I think sometimes the flip side of the coin of feeling special is feeling alone. On a cosmic level, that's like that push-pull of the individual versus the collective. Whereas as in third density, they're separated, but in fourth density, there's a simultaneous awareness of the individual and the collective. Just some musings while we shuffle. Okay, Daisy Cakes. They call him Daisy Wacy. Everyone does. It's a very popular nickname. Dace, can you please give me 3 numbers between 1 and 9? Also, I have a new YouTube video out. It's really embarrassing, and I filmed it all on Sunday night. 824, very cool. Those are the numbers that Gal chose. That rounds out, that's really cool. That rounds out this triptych really well. 8, 2, and 4. So much balance. There's balance in the world for those with eyes to see it. I don't know the quote of that. Isn't that about cathedrals or something? We love our even squares. Yeah. Yeah, the first reading of the day was 824. That's really cool. I like this. I like the 3. When I'm doing 9 piles, I like asking for 3 numbers. It's cool. It feels very like much more significant than doing like different numbers. I'm just gonna shuffle this one more time. What's going on? These 3. Okay, this is exciting. What do we got first? What do we got first? What do we got first? Devotion to service. Pleiades present. Devotion to service, 64. Devotion to service. Devotion to service. Immediately I just think about you and like the jobs that you've had and the way that you are within communities and so forth. Devotion to service. That's very special. Pleiades present. That's a very positive connotation of devotion to service. Of course, sometimes devotion to service can lead to us losing sight of ourselves. Kind of like putting ourselves behind the greater good of the collective, etc. Devotion to service. Are you servicing yourself as well as others? Are you providing yourself with satisfaction? Why is this getting sexual? Devotion to service, Pleiades present. Let's read from the book. 64. As a result of their evolution and history, the Pleiadians are now a species devoted to service. This is the main reason why they have interacted with humans for thousands of years, and you always hear about that. Oh, the Pleiadians, I'm speaking with the Pleiadians. Oh, look, it's the Pleiades. Blah, blah, blah. A deep transformation takes place within when you devote your actions to service. This does not mean self-sacrifice, however. If you are already being of service to others, know that this calling is one you have felt for many lifetimes. If you feel you are not yet being of service, this is a message to start soon. Remember, being of service begins with small things. A smile on the street or sending love from your heart. Redefine what service means to you and begin reaching out. Very cool. I like that card a lot. Oh! We've got another Pleiades card. Open Contact, Pleiades Future. Open Contact. I don't think we've ever had this card. At least I can't really remember like what its themes are. Or the context within the timeline of the Pleiadian civilization. Open Contact. Pleiades Future. Very interesting. 2 Pleiadians. You service yourself pretty darn good. Well, that's good, CJ. That's good. I think that you know, we like to encourage that around here. New card. Yeah, that's exciting. 89. There's only 108 cards in this deck, but for some reason, I mean, there's still lots of cards in this deck also that I don't think I've ever like pulled on stream. There seem to be like really heavy themes that just keep coming up and up and up. 89. Whoops. Is this so hard to flip to? Starting a new job next week while taking over the leadership role in the project I've been on for a few years. Oh, cool. Interesting. Cool. Open Contact. Future. Pleiades. This card has to do with meeting an other, stepping onto common ground into the unknown and making a connection with a new entity or consciousness. Very similar to Gal's reading. Very cool. Common ground. It means facing your fears in order to do this, but experiencing transformation in the process. You're stepping into a new role at work. The future Pleiadians are committed to mentoring humans in this contact process, and their energy is here to assist you. Now, this, of course, can refer to open contact with star civilizations, multidimensional beings, whatever. But also, we're talking about how it's relevant to your life, whoever the listener may be. Right now, we're focusing on Dace. And I think that what you're sharing in the chat feels very, very relevant to this. It is also likely that this Pleiadian energy is a future life of yours if you're into that concept. Reaching out through time to support you. Or it could be a new channeling experience. Either way, it is time to open yourself for contact. Very cool. Focused on building relationships with other species, other groups, other people. Yeah, natural part of evolution. Cool. It may also be referring to opening contact with a previously hidden part of yourself, as opposed to an externalized other. Could be an other within yourself that you haven't quite met yet. If you are unaware of this, start paying attention to the subtle cues around you. Quiet your mind. And open yourself to guidance from the universe. Let yourself embrace an other and let that experience assist you in the realization that it is only a reflection of you. You have 3 new employees starting in the next few weeks that will be reporting to you. Well, there you go. It's very interesting. What's this last one going to be? Oh, alchemy. Alchemy. When I think of integration, I often use the word alchemy. Asasani parallel. Cool. We have a present, future, and parallel here. Interesting trio here. I'm gonna switch this around so that these are down here and that you can see these up here. Oh, authenticity. Just gonna like keep those down there. Keep these up here. Alchemy. Very cool. It's a beautiful card. Alchemy can refer to so many different things. Like, specifically, I just think of like the magic that can happen when differences are integrated. When like you're like literal alchemy, what we think of when old wizards are trying to make gold out of various materials or whatever, or the alchemy of like cooking a really nice soup, or the alchemy of a relationship between two different people, the blending of the energies, etc. 102 Alchemy. Reality is created through our conscious and unconscious thoughts, emotions, and intents. When they are aligned, we become the reality that we prefer, as long as we are following our excitement, which represents the natural flow of the universe. This essential Essassani teaching is a process of alchemy, but it means that we must look at our self-sabotaging behaviors and confront our shadows. I think a lot of times people rail against the idea of like, well, what do you mean if I just follow my excitement, I'm going to live the life that I prefer? What about all this bad stuff? Well, okay. Are you looking at your self-sabotaging behaviors and confronting your shadows, etc.? Am I doing that when I like go to those places? Am I going to like, when I think about like something horrible that I've been like made aware of, like how did I access that, etc.? And do I want to follow? Is it part of my excitement to interact with that? Maybe. Is it part of my excitement to do something about the things that I see need doing something about? Sure, maybe. We're all different. We all have different directions. This just gets so sensitive because I can feel, and it's a judgment on my part, but I can feel the resistance whenever I like press too hard in a certain metaphysical direction. I can feel the perspective of a listener being like, well, that's bullshit. Like pain and suffering exist and there's nothing that we can do about it. You know, it's like, okay. Okay. If that's what you want to order off the menu, okay. It gets really sensitive. It gets really sensitive. I gotta stop projecting on other people. It means that we must look at our self-sabotaging behaviors and confront our shadows, knowing ourselves fully. Only then can we come into full alignment with our true selves. This card means that it is time for you to take the step. Clean up unfinished business. Be free and embrace synchronicity. Synchronicity rocks. I love synchronicity. Wait, I want to read more from the... yeah. Alchemy is the process of using two seemingly opposite forces and bringing them together for profound transformation, nearly magical in nature. Beautiful. A likely interpretation of this card is that there has been or will be or needs to be a shift in your life circumstances that comes in an unexpected way. Our minds often think change is predictable and happens according to a linear model, such as A plus B equals C. But everything we experience is the result of an alchemical process, an energetic mix of our thoughts, belief patterns, emotions, resistances, and so on. All of these variables create a powerful energetic soup that propels our trajectory. The Essassani are experts in harnessing these alchemical processes and shifting the trajectory toward awakening. Now it is essential to do the inner work necessary to understand the forces that affect how your reality is created. See yourself clearly, including your self-defeating habits and patterns, as a way to free yourself from limitation and illusion. That being said, back to that energy that I was feeling before. We do ultimately have agency. We do ultimately have free will. If we want to experience limitation, so be it. So be it. Devotion to service, open contact, alchemy. This is really interesting. It feels pretty like nail on the head for this new chapter of your work life. What up, AWOL? It's good to see you. Okay, I'm going to move on to CJ. Who I believe is our final reading so far in the queue. I might close it after CJ. Unless someone else wants to get in a join, I'm going to close the queue. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Thank you. Okay. We have CJ. You can always break the closed queue by tipping or donating if you wish. That will keep me streaming. But as I move forward, I am going to start doing less and less like free readings. I need to move in that direction, lest I start to like resent the cards or resent my audience or resent like my devotion to service. Because eventually it's just like after some streams I feel like really drained and depleted, and I need to like address that and be honest about that, and not just like give and give and give. Because kind of going back to that like weird energy of alchemy, sometimes I just feel like I have like good intentions and I give too much, and then I get the shit beaten out of me by like a perspective that would rather just like live in constant suffering, and that hurts, and I need to be honest about that. 7, 2, and 3, awesome, cool. Let's get your shuffle going. Luckily, I feel like everyone who's being active in chat right now doesn't, you know, I always invite like healthy, robust discussion, and please argue. But like what I just am losing patience with is like just sheer pessimism. I will like fight you on sheer pessimism because I have like so little patience for that. That's where I need to work, you know. Being even more patient with like the most hopeless, the least hopeful. It's tricky. I hold too much resentment there. It's a fun thing to explore, like in terms of like ministry, because it's so easy to just like lose patience in a congregation that like, it's like you gotta want to help yourself. If you're coming to me for help, you gotta want to help yourself. But I get that. I so often whenever I like am going to someone else for help, I'm like, no, that won't work. No, that won't work. No, I've tried that, or whatever. Or no, it's just like I'm always trying to creatively like get out of like solving the issue or whatever when I'm in like a really bad state of mind. Okay, CJ. Oh, let's do it just for fun, because we did it for all the other readings. What's this? Mental body dominance. Have we done that before with you? Mental body dominance? I just cut the deck and it just opened up to that. Mental body dominance. Ooh, universal connection. Mental body dominance. I don't know. All of the other ones were sort of flavored by a specific card. So let's do that. Let's do that really quickly. Orion releasing. I feel like right now I'm letting my mental body dominate because I keep like harping on this. I don't know what it is. It's like I want to like blame lurkers or blame someone or blame. It's just like I think it's a frustration that I can't make everyone happy all the time. I think that's what's going on. I am expanding into heart-mind balance. Your brain is a magnificent machine. Let's put that into the light. It is tasked with your linear processing and analyzation. You have two main functionalities in the brain: conscious thoughts or subconscious habits, beliefs, autonomic body processes, and subtle data about your surroundings. Your subconscious mind is processing billions of data points per second and only relaying information to your conscious mind that it determines is important based on your belief systems. Your mental body is only able to process known information, so you lose the vast information that your intuition and emotional guidance provide, talking about those subtle realms that we're opening up to more and more. As a balanced being, you use your intuition, emotional guidance, and valuable logic. It was opening to the power of heart-mind unity that healed the Orion experience. This is an Orion flavored card. This card is softening your mental usage into a healthy flow of more heart-mind unity. It is this balance that transcends fear and helps you understand your infinite nature. You begin to see yourself in all creation, ending the separation that harms, while still maintaining the understanding of sovereign form in this realm. I like that. It's that simultaneous understanding again of the individual and the collective. The light language is initiating a relaxing of the mind as you open your infinite heart more. It is helping you to find a new perspective that serves your expansion. Cool. Shift your thoughts of negativity into improvement you believe. If you can't shift your perspective with concerted effort, ask what you need to learn to move past it. Embrace your emotions as the effective tools they are. Distract your mind until you can relax more. Distract your mind until you can relax more. I like that. Okay, and with that in mind, here comes the Galactic Heritage cards. 723 for CJ. We've got quite a shadow going here. Does that help? Not quite. I need more lights, you know? Just need I need more everything. It's never enough. But we're getting there. This is like as elaborate as my stream has ever been. This is very exciting how elaborate this stream is. Cool. Seven, 2, 3. Okay. 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 Yeah. I'm glad this is the last reading because I can feel like it's finally taking the toll. The toll. Okay, CJ, what do we think this first one's gonna be? Enlightenment. Zeta Reticuli future. Beautiful. 97. Enlightenment. Have you had this one before? The future of the Zeta Reticuli. So much of the future cards have to do with integration. There's a perceived obstacle to be overcome. You address the obstacle and then you integrate and you overcome. Enlightenment. Enlightenment is always going on. It's never really quite a destination. It's like as soon as you think you've achieved it, you have so much farther to go. You know how that goes. Let's talk about it for a second. 97. The Zetas had a tangible experience of moving from fear to awakening, but it was not an easy one. Through this crisis, they had to first learn to embrace emotion as a valid part of existence, and then, at the same time, not attach to emotion but rise above it. Encountering this paradox was essential to their transformation as a species. The same lesson is being asked of you now. Embrace and honor all aspects of who you are, even those you don't like. At the same time, know that mind, emotions, and body are not who you are. Expand your consciousness beyond them. This is enlightenment. You know, all those relative things are who we are, but ultimately when it's like, who are we in the grand cosmic sense? That's up to each of us, I guess. Do you identify with an oversoul? That sort of thing, like a soul family or a higher self or something like that. That's just when we're talking about the context of enlightenment. Interesting. Yeah, they wanted to learn about emotions from us. This card may also be reminding you that enlightenment is a natural state of being, and your life as a separate self is merely an illusion. The underlying message is that the human experience of separation is but one part of who you are, and by embracing all aspects, as the Zetas eventually did, without attaching to any aspect, you individually and humanity collectively can move to an enlightened state of consciousness. There's always a theme here. Self-observance. Look at that. Another future card, Lyra. Self-observance. These feel very hand in hand. Observing all aspects of the self, embracing the light and the dark. Introducing the new concepts without them taking over. 67. After much struggle as a species, the Lyrans eventually healed themselves by honestly and objectively observing themselves. At first, this can be a difficult task, but in the end, it leads to powerful transformation as long as it is done without judgment. The power of self-observation is essential for any person or species who seeks transformation. Begin this process now. Just observe. See your habits and patterns without the need to fix anything. It is an alchemical process that produces spiritual evolution on a profound level. The love and wisdom of the Lyran forefathers can guide you. Just ask for their help. Observation without judgment. This card is very important because Earth has just begun making its first tiny steps towards species maturity like their Lyran forefathers. One of the most essential aspects of expressing this maturity is the ability to see one's self clearly, to see the negative as well as the positive and embrace it all as a valuable growth lesson. It requires maturity to see the things that need to be changed about yourself and then implement those sometimes painful changes in order to experience a rebirth. Yes, at this time in Earth's development, this ability of self-observance is crucial for both the human species as a whole and for individuals. Without this honest self-evaluation, neither a species nor a person can fully transform. Interesting. Lyra passed masculine principle. Interesting. Masculine principle. The penetrator. The externalizer. Masculine Principle, 12. We don't get this card a lot. The ancient Lyran, and also so much Lyran in here. The ancient Lyran civilization is often described as reflecting the masculine principle. As the civilization grew, it moved out into the galaxy, settling planets, sometimes engaging in war, and seeking ways to perpetuate the species. They were the builders, protectors, and architects of a society. Both masculine and feminine principles exist within everyone. It is important that they remain in balance. This card asks you to work with your inner male energy. Listen to what it has to say and embrace it. This will help to heal an old karmic pattern from the days of ancient Lyra. Ooh. Lyra was the first civilization that expressed polarity, setting the template for our exploration and healing of polarity for millennia afterward. One way they expressed polarity was through their masculine focus on external reality, and in their attempts to manipulate physical reality according to their desires. Again, this could be a positive or negative expression, depending on the intentions behind the actions. If you have this card in your reading, it is asking you to look at your inner and outer male-female balance. If you see where there is imbalance, work to bring those energies back into alignment. You may be acting from an old template from ancient Lyran times that is ready to transform. Keep in mind that this is also the card of the warrior. In ancient times, you most likely had a lot of experience as a warrior and may still have those qualities within your nature. Look at how those qualities can be used constructively instead of destructively. There are always times when the warrior energy is useful. Attaining the mastery of a true warrior, even a spiritual one, means understanding when to use that energy for the greater good. If you need inspiration about what this really means, look to the ancient text of the Bhagavad Gita and the teachings given to the warrior Arjuna by the great being Krishna, which I still need to read. I've never read the Bhagavad Gita. I would love to, because it keeps coming up. Very interesting. Also, what this reminds me of also, like just in terms of fun, weird friends, like I think about when I'm like deep in exploration of a certain topic or researching like a paranormal thing or a witchy thing or something, remembering to also like have fun with my external participation in the physical world instead of always just going internal and focusing on like internal magic and self-development and stuff. Like the balance is required. Like none of my internal development really means anything if I'm not participating externally. I mean, it means something, but like we have this beautiful opportunity within physical reality to interact with our external worlds. Like just right now, I'm like, ooh, I really want to go on a walk because there's still daylight outside before the events of the evening take hold. But yeah, that's what that made me think of. Mental body dominance reminds me a lot of this Zeta theme of enlightenment, who were so mental and were reintroduced to their emotional body through their interactions with humans, us, because they're also technically humans. That's a long story. Self-observance is just inherent in all of this, I think. Self-observance also feels like mental body dominance. It's like, can you observe yourself with that sort of like logical... I keep coming back to the word neutrality, but there's a better word for it. Anywho, and masculine principle. Stereotypically, oftentimes it's like, oh, the feminine principle is the heart, the masculine principle is the mind, whatever. This is all very subjective. But you like this one so far? Nice. Yeah, this is interesting. It seems to be like playing with specific themes that I'm sure are working themselves out in some creative way in your life. Whew. I do have to wind down, though. I think that's it for readings today. How's our green screen doing? Yeah. Could be better. Could be worse. As the sun goes down, the key needs to be adjusted ever so slightly. Wish that green was. Is that helping? No, it doesn't seem like that's helping anything. That's kind of fun. I look like I'm in a cel-shaded video game. It's cool. Really accents my Adam's apple. That's funny. Okay. It's just going back to gender dysphoria really quick. It's interesting to me that I feel more gender euphoric the more like effects I put on myself on stream. I'm like, oh, there she is. Whereas if I like went like this, I'm like, oh, what is that? You know, which is so that's the way that my brain is operating. Always wanting to hide. You're very welcome. Wow, this is intense. Maybe if I can like do a deeper green. Is that helpful? Oops. Is that helpful? Just more lights, I guess. I just need more lights. Yeah, for sure, Steph. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Well, heck. For WonderSwan. Is WonderSwan on? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? I need to see who's on so I can raid. Oh, there's my phone. Whoop. Well, this is a fun return to the card readings. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna like do free readings. It's I need to like figure out my relationship with that. WonderSwan is Shelby. Hey, Sparkle. Of course. Of course. I don't know. I have a big fear that if I like go down that path, it'll be like just making things. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be good or bad. It's on.